When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, Mek Wi Talk, my people, Mek Wi Talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Mek Wi Talk, people, Mek Wi Talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, Mek Wi Talk. When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, Mek Wi Talk, my people, Mek Wi Talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Mek Wi Talk, people, Mek Wi Talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, Mek Wi Talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on when the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, Mek Wi Talk, my people, Mek Wi Talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Mek Wi Talk, people, Mek Wi Talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, Mek Wi Talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend.
Good night, good night, good night. We're listening, watching from around the world on the Eastern Caribbean. This is a special edition of the Mek Wi Talk program. Our topics for tonight will be the state of the municipality in Clarendon, and also past the rape a 12-year-old. He's a registered sex offender in New York State, and he's now living in Jamaica. He has a church in Jamaica. At 8 o'clock, we're going to speak more about that. At 7 o'clock, we're going to have a former Mayor Barneswell online. We're also going to have retired FBI agent Wilfred Radigan, my co-host, and also Marie will be coming on the program this evening here with us. It's going to be an exciting evening. At 8 o'clock, we'll be very exciting, more exciting at 8 o'clock. But this evening, we're going to have the former mayor, Mr. Barneswell. He's also a councillor. We have him on the phone line pretty soon. But as soon as we do so, we'll let you know. It's a great afternoon to come on air, to really sit down and speak to you people, my Jamaican people. My Jamaican people. Today, we heard about 100 1,114 Jamaicans has been murdered since December 14th, 2024 rather. 1,114 Jamaicans have been murdered in this country since December 14th, 2024. Begs to ask the question, yet they're saying that crime is going down. Is crime truly going down in this country? I doubt it. Crime truly going down in this country. I see where my good friend Wilfred Rattigan is coming on right now. As soon as we can see his face and we put him up in the system here, we're going to see if we can get a hold of the mayor, the former mayor of Clarendon, Mr. Ian Barneswell. He'll be coming on this to speak to us about what is going on in the Clarendon municipality. Mr. Rattigan, welcome to the program, sir. We're trying to get a hold of the mayor. On.
Good night to you. And,
good night, man. You look tired, man.
I'm busy. I try to get a deadline. I have to meet for a client midnight tonight. So that's why I try to finish up the thing all day. So.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
You look tired in your face, but you need some rest too.
My good man. My good like God.
We're hoping that the mayor said we should give him a call when we're ready. We're ready, but he's calling, he's not answering his phone. But we still can go ahead. Mr. Rattigan, based on what is going on in Clarendon, in the Clarendon municipality, wherein they're saying that the JLP mayor should tender his resignation.
Why?
So the ruckus in the council a couple of days ago. Let me make you listen to this. Oh, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
That's no reason for resignation. If you have ruckus, that's expected.
No, what happened, the PNP have majority down there. I was trying to find the Mayoral Act of 2016, I think, to state that, oh Lord, I had it on my thing and I can't find it again. Anyway, it's stating that if you have majority in the council, then the sitting mayor should step aside. Based on what I'm hearing, that's not the case.
Why?
So I want to,
I don't understand why. If that's the provision, the administrative provision, then people have to abide by it. That's what we're calling democracy. Yeah, if you start change rules, well, at Jamaica saw anything possible.
I want you to listen to what happened in the council meeting a couple of days ago.
Because we're not doing nothing illegal. We're following the act. We're following the act. We're not doing nothing illegal. So we're following the act. But we're not doing nothing illegal. You can't tell me to quiet. You can't tell me to quiet. No, you can't tell me to quiet, Banjo. Banjo, you can't tell me to quiet.
We are following the time.
Because you just know you have no power. You can't tell me to quiet. So I'm going to tell you to quiet.
I would suggest minority leader, you let good sense prevail. And I'm saying to you, we will take it where it falls on the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, what does the act states that should happen in the event of a tie? The last time I read the act, which was this morning, and I've read it several times after the election. Mr. Chairman,
remember, you didn't get,
what should happen
remember, you did not get permission.
Mr. Chairman, what does the act state that should take place?
World War III going on. What is the views on that? So hoping out the mayor is saying to us that he'll soon be on. So your view, actually, the former mayor should say.
So when you say former mayor, who are you referring to?
Former Mayor Barneswell. He was a former mayor under the People's National Party. He's still a councillor there now. He was in the meeting. This is what he said in the meeting also. This is him speaking here in the meeting.
This chairman or councillor rather who presumed to be the chairman and mayor of the municipal corporation refused to accept same and decide that he is now the chairman for life until the next local government election. I can't see any difference here in the municipal corporation for the JLP councillors to realize that they no longer have majority in the municipal corporation. And as such, the mayor, the deputy mayor must be from the different political parties. The different committees need to be reorganized and different members being appointed to the different committees and different chairpersons being appointed, because it's not business as usual. And we are saying to Councillor Joel and the other JLP councillors that going forward, there can be no peace if there is no unity.
Wow. Your take on all that, Mr. Rattigan. I mean, we're trying to get a sense of what is going on. Is it that the JLP council there, because based on what I am hearing so far, that the PNP councils may have majority in it, in the council, but the mayor is already there.
Yeah, this is very simple though. I mean, them can make an emergency application to the court to remove him, and this won't take long. It's simple. I mean, I'm not for argue with him. I mean, if the rule is that the party with the most members, they get to head the mayorship, then that's it.
There's an act that I'm trying to find. I've been searching for it all day today. An act of no confidence. It has a no confidence part in it, but it's stated up. I don't want to quote the wrong thing. I've been searching for it all day today and I couldn't find it. Based on what, if my memory serves me correctly, even if the People's National Party took them to court, they will not win the case because the mayor is already sitting there.
No, if he's there illegally, unlawfully.
No, he was elected there, you know.
Yeah. But you're saying he's not supposed to be the mayor.
That's what they're saying. Because they have majority in there.
Yeah,
because
well, the act that you're looking for, that will settle it. That will settle the whole thing. If you can find it, because whatever it says, that's the law. And if it says that he shouldn't be there and somebody else, then that's the end of that. It's just a matter of somebody come in and say, okay, point to the specific provisions within the law to say, here's where it says that if you fail to achieve the majority, or the party with the majority, they get to choose who the mayor should be. Then if it says that, then that's the end of the story. So I'd love to hear from the mayor, the one who's sitting there who doesn't want to move. Why is it? What's his basis for not?
Are you ready for me, sir? Okay, hold on. I have with me Councilor Monson. Oh, sir, welcome to the program, sir. Hello? Are you hearing me now, sir?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Yes. I want to ask, what is going on in the council, sir? Is there a statement that you should have a no confidence vote against the mayor?
Good evening. Thanks for having me, and I want to say good evening to your listeners. All right.
I also have retired FBI agent Wilfred Rattigan online with us.
Okay, that's good. How are you doing, sir? All right. So what we have with the kind of municipal corporate is that it's a stalemate where circumstances have changed. In February, there was an election, and the JLP would have won not just the division, 12 divisions. Later on, we had a death in the council, and we had a by-election in November, which would have changed the circumstances. We have 11 seats in the PNP now, have left seats at the President's Convention, and the law, it states that where there's a tie, how to break that tie. The senior returning officer will now look at the number of votes each political party will get in the parish. And then the party with the highest number of votes will get the mayor. And the party with the least number of votes will get the premier. So this makes me say that protected by the law, because section of the Local Governments Act 16, which they make reference to, has no bearing on this section of the Roper Act, which speaks to in the event of a. And my understanding is that the by-election is an event. It's an election. It can affect the outcome of the party in government or the party in opposition. And in this case, it affects the mayor, the JLP, because he became mayor by having a situation no longer exists. So it is simple and when you have that situation exists, the number of votes, popular votes that is, should form the mayor. But he is now saying that he should remain there until the next local government election, which is totally a different situation from what we experience. We are not now at a stalemate.
Hold on to me, former mayor. Based on what you're saying, sir, the People's National Party has the majority in the council now.
That's correct. We had the majority before the November by-election. Although we lost to the JLP by 12%, we had 57 more votes than the JLP. This by-election increased our votes to close to 200.
Mm-hmm.
Martin, say it right.
So the ruckus that happened in the council a couple of days ago between the mayor and the PNP councillors, is it that you all are saying for it's time for him to step down?
Well, we didn't ask for him to step down. What we asked for him is that now that Councillor Dawson swears in, it now makes the tie official. Now that the tie is official, we now need to discuss now how do we move forward. So the motion which I had indicated a week ago to be tabled last week Thursday was to deal specifically with that matter. How do we move forward? And he wouldn't take the motion at the juncture in which we were proposing for it to happen. Because one ties in with the other. In other words, this motion ties in shortly after Dawson being sworn as councillor. And the motion is to find out from him, how do we move forward now that there's a tie? So that we can debate it, discuss it, and they will come to an agreement. Because there will be some changes, or there should be some changes. And the changes which we're anticipating is one, there should be changes in terms of the leadership. Two, there should be changes in terms of the composition of the different committees. And there should be changes in terms of who chairs these committees or the deputy chair for these committees. And it's only a council meeting that those changes can be approved. So I was trying to get him now to work closely with us, to have that discussion, that debate, as we move forward. But he would have none of it. And as a result, my council colleagues stood in their space to say to him that you has no jurisdiction over this council because you no longer has the majority. You are now in the minority.
Hold on for me. I think Mr. President, you have a question for Mr. Barneswell?
So Barneswell, good evening, sir. How are you?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
So Barneswell?
Yes, he's here now. Go ahead.
Okay. So Barneswell, it's apparent that you have a recalcitrant mayor, somebody who refuses to move and has anchored himself in that office. Have you or the party or civil society, in the interest of democracy and fairness and justice, and in compliance with the rules, have you sought to have an emergency appeal before a judge to have them just remove him, issue an order, a declaratory judgment saying he's no longer the mayor?
Well, the matter will be taken before the courts. We have already consulted a legal firm, and they're presenting us. We'll be meeting with them shortly as it relates to putting this matter before a court. Okay. In the course of this week to early next week. I think 3 because a new week. Yes, it will be done this week.
Right. What about the members, the other members? What are they saying? Is anyone trying to convince him that it's time for him to go, or does he have a solid base behind him, and that's why he's deciding not to?
I think he's taking instruction from the central arm of his party, because having one-on-one with with his colleague, they realize that the situation has changed. They realize that they no longer have control of the council, and it's time for us to chart a new way to move forward. But he the Councillor Joel Williams, find himself into a very precarious situation. I'm going to tell you why. He was to be the reprimator, and they had appointed, or looking at Delroy Williams, the Deputy Mayor for Kingston and Central Municipal Corporation, to replace Mike Henry in Central Clarendon. Now he's holding on to that position using some misinterpretation of the law, because leaving that position, he may find himself outdoor. So that is his situation predicament he find himself in. But that has nothing to do with us. The rule of law must be obeyed, and the rule of law must be respected. And that is why we're pushing this matter.
Let me ask you this question, former mayor. Is it that if you elect a mayor, just like how Kingston and St. Andrew have Mayor Swaby and Mayor Williams as deputy mayor, that's how it's supposed to be?
We had that situation in 2003. In 2003, we did not know how to deal with this matter when we had a similar situation where there was a tie. And both Mr. Mike Henry and Mr. Horace Daly met. There are two senior persons, within the parish.
Right.
And they met and they said, well, I have popular votes, so I think I should get the mayor. And we agreed. And the former mayor, may so rest in peace, Milton Brown was there, and his deputy was Leopold Hilton. And we work, and nobody knew that we had that situation. So we have experienced it before. So it's nothing new to Clarendon.
So when you were mayor, did you have this situation around you?
No, never. No.
Oh,
Never did.
Never did. Anyone next question for him, sir?
Yeah, Mr. Barneswell, please tell the people why it's so important for this mayor to be replaced in terms of structure, in terms of the law, in terms of procedure, in terms of the effect on the lives of the ordinary Jamaicans living in that parish. Why is it so important to have a court rule in your favor?
As I said earlier, that my interpretation of the law, sections of the Roper Act, section 61, and it moves from subsection 1 to 5. If you read it, it will tell you specifically, and it's very unspecific as to what needs to happen. So I'm just trying to uphold the law. It was an election. Both political parties went out and contested it vigorously. The JLP had state fundings and personal resources. The People's National Party had personal resources. And we strategized and we came out victorious. And the people of Clarendon, especially those at Union Town, expect that now that they won the Union Town division, and the people in general in Clarendon now say that it is their time now to have their representatives sitting in that chair as their mayor. So it's not something that CN Barnes or the PNP council hopes or wishes for, but that's what happened. Circumstances, the by-election, and we expect that what should follow shortly after is what that section of the Roper Act states.
That again?
No, I was gonna ask if the way it is right now, in terms of providing resources and providing services to the people in the parish, how will that change if the mayor is replaced? And if he's replaced, is he going to be the deputy mayor?
Well, the services for the people still remain in terms of the people are still getting service from the parish council. It doesn't affect the day-to-day operations. The only thing being affected is the decisions at the level where the councils will decide on what to be done. We believe that Councillor Joel Williams does not, as the majority, and as a result, his office doesn't provide him with that opportunity to lead or to guide or to direct the council at this time. Willing to him being the deputy mayor, that is something that they have to decide on. And I think that is where they now have an issue. Because I believe that the current deputy mayor, based on what I'm hearing, is not willing to step aside and give him the deputy mayor position. Or to step aside and to give, if we come to a compromise, that which I know my colleague would not agree, but let's say that we compromise and we get the deputy mayor. I hold that he's not willing to move. But that is not our business. That is what they to decide. I'm just here trying to, obey and respect the law.
Are you
That's it in the part.
Are you the senior councillor on the People's National Party side? And also, if this current mayor do not want to step aside, what is the way going forward then?
But no, there's a councillor there from the Middle division, Carlton Bailey, seniors me.
Okay.
I'm second in line. I'm second in line. But again, if he refuses to leave, then the court. I'm waiting on the interpretation of the court, and then that will guide us as to the next step. And if the court rules that he remains, if the court rules that he remains, we obey whatever the decision the court makes. If the court rules that he should leave, then I expect that he will obey the decision of the court.
But based on what is going on within the Jamaica Labour Party, they have override the laws of this country and the courts and everything. You think he's not going to override the courts too?
I doubt it very much. I doubt it very much. I don't want him to be a silly person. I think that he will allow good stuff here.
Mayor, before you go, tell me what's going on in the parish of Clarendon about your roads and, when it comes on to crime and so forth. What's going on down there? Is it down or is it up?
Well, the parish has a toilet infrastructure. The parish has seen the worst infrastructure in recent times, because we have been having torrential rainfall, continuous rainfall, or what I say, periodic rainfall since 2019. So I've been getting a battering. And despite the council submitting to the Ministry of Local Government estimates upon estimates of damage done to our community roads, we have yet to receive a special grant to repair these roads. Now, what alarms us is that the members of parliament received some $40 billion, not at one time, but across the 63 constituencies, which works out about $150 million per constituency to do community roads. Now, these roads will be done by the National Work Agency. There is an argument that for the National Work Agency to rehabilitate these roads, these roads need to be transferred to the central government, which is not a National Work Agency. Well, from history, it told us what had happened in 1986 after the Jamaica Labour Party lost local government elections. It strips it of its responsibilities and its ability to raise funds. Now, we are concerned that if we go that route, it's a similar thing will happen to the local authority. So we are saying that we're not support. We're not sure how the SPARK program will work. Then now the REAP program now allows the members of parliament to rehabilitate community roads again. And all these roads that they want to get done, no councillor is involved in terms of consultation, in terms of involvement, in terms of which way is the best road for them to clear. The members of parliament will just come in with a contract and fix the road that they sign. It could be in a JLP control division or community, while that may not be the road, but because of political influence, they choose those roads. And we are saying that should not be so. There have been some challenges there as it relates to road rehabilitation. Most of our roads are now, when I was in Indian Town, Northern Clarendon, a couple of weeks ago, and it's a disgrace in that constituency. And other constituencies, which experience the same situation where the community roads are terrible. Open $5 billion package fee will bring about not just repair the roads, but the roads to the repair poor quality it can withstand any other adversities in terms of rainfall and everything. So another 5 years, 8 years, these roads will stand up and just last for 6 months because it's taxpayers' money.
But former Mayor Barnes, let me ask you this question, sir. And I'm Mr. going to come and ask you the next question too. Based on what we're seeing that is in the roads in this country, I remember when my grandfather was in charge of roads in Westmoreland. He used to maul the road, put gravel, stone and everything and maul it again and roll it. That's not what's going on in Jamaica nowadays. They just saw some maul and tar.
What is happening now? There's no quality checks being done. So a contractor get a job to fix a particular set of road, and some national work agency is there to ensure that level or the thickness in asphalt is right. The number of hours that the compactor will traverse to make sure it's properly compact. There's nobody there to supervise them. I have seen recently, it was raining and the contractor was there along the Sanderby Road in southeast Clarendon, pouring that mix in those affected roads, in those roads that they're repairing. And I know that within the next 3 months, it's run. So that's a problem. Quality checks, firstly, make sure that what is being done is up to standard, and that is not being done. Again, taxpayers' money along the drain.
Yes. Hold on for me. Mr. Roth, I'm going to ask that question now.
Yeah, Mr. Barnwell, did you say section 61?
You're saying section 61 of ROPA?
Yes, yeah.
What are you saying about Mr. Roth again?
Eh?
What are you saying about section 61?
Yeah, I don't see how it's applicable. What section? 61 subsection what?
Section 61 of ROPA, and it reads section 1. Right. I'm looking at 5A and B. It's just a procedure.
Can you repeat for us? Can you break it up a while? Can you repeat for us, please?
Subsections, section 61 of ROPA, which is the 8th schedule. And if you read subsection 5A, B, it tells you clearly what should be done in the event of it. It didn't refer to a general election. It didn't refer to abortion. It says in the event of a tie. This is what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Section 61, section 5A and B.
Section 6.
Last meeting, right? and selecting a chairman.
Hold on, Mr. Roth, you want to ask that question? Hold on for me, please, sir.
No, I couldn't hear him. Ask me if it's section 61, because 61, I look at 61 and it's not that.
That's in the ROPA Act, the 8th schedule. It's page 73, 72, 70.
All right, I'll get to it. But let me ask you this, sir. The U.S. Embassy put out a travel advisory. As you know, they put it out on a regular basis. I think it's twice or 3 times a year. And the last 2, to the best of my recollection, they were concerned. The embassy was concerned about medical facilities and medical attention, and also crime. And they listed several areas, lots of areas where they say that Americans should not go. One of them is the entire parish of Clarendon. They basically said, don't stop, stay on the highway and just keep your head straight. Is that warranted in your view?
Well, I tell you, I would have seen it, and they speak to crime and they speak to healthcare. They speak to healthcare for the entire Jamaica. Go to Jamaica, you should get sick there, you're in trouble. And they speak specifically to crime, and they would have singled out some parishes. Clarendon was one of them. That if you go into Westmoreland or Manchester, do that exit, the toll, continue straight. That has dampened the parish as it relates to the diaspora coming home for Christmas or for whatever family gathering. Could have prevented them from deciding to come to Jamaica. And it is a concern. It is something which we are very mindful of. Despite that, there is down in major crimes, but we have to view that some crimes are not being reported. And so the statistics on the police, on the JC, it comes under question by the opposition that it is not accurate. But here, we just have to be mindful of the space that we're in, or we move around now in this festive season, just to make sure that we are safe for those who do this. We just have to be careful as to how you really move around, the time you close, and how you leave your business to home. And for those who are on the road, just have to exercise some level of caution because it can happen. We have seen it happen just territory recently. So criminal underworld or criminal activities can strike at any time. I'm hoping that the police intelligence is really on the ground to know or being able to identify if and whenever these criminals decide to act. To act. My word for the Christmas is just for everybody to be safe and just to treat every situation in a very cautious way. Because you first have to think about protecting your life first and that of your family.
Well, I tell you what, though, Mr. Barneswell, and it's easy to remember your name, because my urologist, that's his name, Barneswell. I don't know if he's from Clarendon, but outstanding urologist. But I'm listening to you, Mr. Barneswell. Here's what I'm picking up. You said we are very mindful of it. And then you said, we're hoping that those that can't fight crime. You know that. So my question to you is, yes, you're considering what's going on, but have you or members of the council of the party reached out to the high command, the police high command, and said, listen, we simply cannot have this. This is an untenable position. So we're not hoping that you have police intelligence on the ground. We want you to put police intelligence on the ground because Clarendon, we believe that a lot of the criminals coming here, they're imported here. I'm not saying imported, meaning that you implement a state of emergency elsewhere. For example, like St. James, and people run, and so they end up in our parish and they're causing all kinds of problems. And so now you come in now after the fact, after they're entrenched here, you come in now and try to address the issue. That is not how you fight crime. Have you or I'll repeat, have you or anyone in the council or the party reached out to the high command to say it is simply not enough for us to hope and to wish and to be mindful of? We need you to be here.
We have raised our objection to the state of emergency, that it is not really a crime fighting tool. Well, it's a crime fighting tool, but not one that is needed at this time. Because when you blanket the entire parish for state of emergency, there's nothing happening in Crooked River. There's nothing happening in Chapelton, but yet still the entire parish is under state of emergency. So one, it impacts on commerce activity, it impacts on persons' livelihood, because many persons now, because of unemployment, do I think what is called run robbery, similar to a part draw, where they put money up front each week, and then each week person will have a party and whatever money each person would collect for economic opportunity. So that's what affects on person's livelihood. So we have asked the police that why not just cordon off the area, blanket the area where we would dub as hotspots and deal with it that way than the entire parish. We have asked that several times, but as they say to us that it's an instruction coming from the high command of the JSTF or the Ministry of National Security. We have seen some improvement in some other areas. For example, in Canaanites that used to be plagued with criminal activities. And through the Peace Management Initiative, we have now been enjoying some level of calm and peace in that area. In Yorktown, similar thing used to happen from the Peace Management Initiative. We have seen that happening. So we know that the Peace Management Initiative really have impacted in the violence-prone area. But this government has somehow remove it or kill it or get rid of it. And as a result, we have seen some areas now, some flare-ups taking place. So I think it's something that we need to look back at in terms of implementing some violence interruptive committees or group that can able now to talk with youth and look at some social ills affecting these communities, and so basically can improve it. So the Zozo is one such thing, because it also is it's a partnership between stakeholders that comes in, look at what is happening between different government agencies and try to improve it, and that has also bring forth some results. So, so we're looking at different aspects of it. So you're correct. To the kind of hard policing doesn't really help in some areas.
All right. But I don't mean to press you, but me still have to ask a question, because you said that you have spoken to police officials and they said, listen, what we are doing is a reaction to instructions that we've received. And since them can't do anything, have you thought about going to the people issuing the instructions and say, listen, you know, you can't tie the policeman them on foot now, Clarendon, because them want the things, but they're saying that they might get instructions from UNO, and you know, we need answers. And not only that, I mean, if you start to do that, that could actually set the trend for the rest of the country to start asking questions of the high command, because that's where the instructions are coming from. And apparently they're coming from people who don't live in Clarendon, don't understand Clarendon, and in fact don't understand much of the country, that the policing that they're doing is ineffective, because when it's ineffective because it's reactive. It's not proactive. Because you hear what you say? They have to come in with a peace management initiative to quell the violence and calm the fears down. That shouldn't happen if you're fighting crime in an effective and efficient manner. The peace management thing, that's a reaction. That's not being proactive. That is when you have the problem and say, what we are going to know. So are you thinking about it, or will you go to them and say, listen, we don't need this kind of reactive policing, you know. We need proactive policing. We need to prevent these things from happening, not wait for them to happen, and then we come up with something, and then we get instructions saying we can only do so much.
And you're correct. And I want to give kudos to the former Custos of Clarendon, Honorable William Shaguri, who would have used what is called a Christmas treat as part of the initiative in terms of getting the residents and the police to the same page, to be friends of the police, being friends of the community, where they will come in and treat the kids for Christmas and interact with the communities outside of that period. And growing up, I can recall that the district constables and other officers would have gotten information from the public when a man should break a shop or a church or stole something or kill somebody. They will get that information first and from the community, because they feel comfortable in relating to these police officers. But what has been happening is the frequent spur of these policemen when they come into a community doing these kind of community policing, and then short after they are transferred and someone new come back to that space. It takes a time for the residents to build trust and confidence in that individual. And that is one thing I think affecting the JCF. Good policemen work in the era, keeping things down, person willing to talk to them, but soon after they are transferred, set to somebody else, somebody comes in and the whole thing start back at ground zero or from stage one. And these are some of the things we need to look at.
Mr. Barnes, well, I don't mean to take over Mr. Tavares' program, but I've asked you this question before you go. I'm looking at the economic indicators for Jamaica. I'm looking at GDP, unemployment, underemployment, the whole thing, the trade deficit, and it doesn't look good for Jamaica. I was just recently reading a PIOJ forecast, short-term, long-term, and it says that the economy is contracting, not expanding, contracting, despite what here the government said that, you know, the economy is doing well, and then come up with this bogus number of 3.6 unemployment, which we can disprove. Now, everything is going down, except guns are coming in like it's out of style. They told us, they meaning the government, told us a few years ago that illegal guns are shipped into Jamaica to the tune of 200 per month. Now, I'm not that math, but I know 12 tools are 24. So that's 2,400 guns. So what do you see for the future of Clarendon, considering that the economy is contracting, but guns are coming in record numbers?
Well, I may not have the answer for that question, but from my own layman term, there are some things that needs to be done in terms of securing our borders. I mean, Clarendon, the southern part of Clarendon, there are persons who just go fishing and maybe do exchange on ICs or reach 80, where being alleged that is where most of our firearm comes in. But there were plans afoot to put in place police posts in Rocky Point, and it's yet to happen. And I think if we are serious about protecting our borders in terms of the influx of firearm coming into the country via sea, it seems to be doing something at the wharves. We managed to capture some. I'm not sure when they really pass the eyes or the scanning machine. But those we have no control over in terms of our different entry points to our shores. I think the police, the marine police, need to beef up along that section. It is of great concern to Clarendon. I'm going to tell you why. Because since the closure of the Monmouth Sugar Factory, we would have seen some increased criminal activities in the southern part of the parish because nobody have no work. When the factory was in place, there was economic opportunities and plan and prepare their life as it relates to the next payday. But now there's nothing happening. So that will have person push to that era of criminality. And you are correct. The report from PIOG, and this is something I question every day, because as a councillor and while traversing my division, I see the same number of persons on the street, different age group, asking for work, and each day the number keep growing. So I've said to myself, then how can PIOG set the record low? And what somebody tells me, or told me, when a man go on the road and sell some shamais or some fruits, they are put into they are graded or marked rather, or rated as being employed. Whether it's for 2 weeks or a week, they are categorized or classified as being employed. So that is really something which is deceiving from the fact what is happening. I can recall the economic, what's the name? The EPAC, yes, who monitors the government's performance. One government not to be too frugal in terms of giving away election promises in the upcoming general election, because it can impact on the country's ability. And we would have seen promises being made. And the question asks, if the government decides to give up that level of revenue, how will they make it back? You know, in terms of what they're promising persons now, the $20,000 and giving back to persons who are not earning, I think $80 million per year. The reduction in JPS persons who are using less than 150 kilowatt, which is a few, is only those who use high energy users will really see the benefit. But I'm just saying that it's impact where, because that is money that the government or the country rather need to provide services and to pay salaries for the people. So if given that back, where would they get back that shortfall from? You know, so I don't think many persons really understand what is happening there. But as I said before, I may not have the answers for all those questions, because I'm not an economist, and I'm just basically a layman.
Well, being a Jamaican, let's take off the council hat now. You're a Jamaican. You heard the JCF reported today that as of December 14, 2024, Jamaica murder rate stand at 1,114 Jamaicans been murdered since the start of this year. Quite frankly, I don't believe that figure. I believe it's more. And they keep on saying that crime is going down. Do you believe that crime is going down, Mr. Barnesville?
In some areas, I would say yes, but then it moves somewhere else. It's just like a kick in the can further down the road. Or you have a blockage here, so it doesn't flow going further down. So, you know, you would say it's going down. For example, in Clarendon, in some section of Clarendon that we used to have murders happening quite frequently, happening there, it may be happening somewhere else. But then, is it being reported? And that's where the question now lies. Is these murders, are these murders being reported? And someone may say no, or it is being done in a controlled fashion or manner.
Yes. I know you have to go now because you can
go ahead. No, you can go ahead. So Barnes, no leave me yet, sir. Never look at it because I'm something else. You mentioned an issue about securing our borders, and you're absolutely correct. And you mentioned Rocky Point, and I recall that over a year ago there's a plane that crash landed over Rocky Point, and cargo missing, passengers missing, pilot missing, and then a few weeks later, the Minister of National Security came out and said the people on board that aircraft, they've left the island.
Well, a whole heap of things there to unpack. What do you mean you left the island? You never catch them? Or how them leave the island? How you identify them? But in addition to that, think about this. And we talked about guns. If you ship 5 barrels of guns to the war, Mr. Barneswell, it not take much common sense to figure out that you were shipping barrels through that port long before that. Because when people not just get up and pack 5 barrels of guns and send them through there. What that means is that the link fail. What they do, that ship guns through this for a long time. So for every 5 barrels with them catch, you can just count 10 barrels gone through, right? And then another thing is that when you talk about securing our borders, I don't think you're aware of this. I just want to inform you about this. And Jeffrey Tavares can give more information. There's a company called Secure. The Jamaican government went to ask the U.S. government for help. They've been asking for help with the borders. And Security Port, an American company, world-renowned, came in 2017, met with Minister Chang, met with leader of the opposition at the time, Dr. Peter Phillips, and nothing has happened since. I just happen to have the proposal that they provided to Minister Chang, and in fact, after about 3 years of not hearing anything, the U.S. Embassy contacted the Prime Minister's office, and they were told that they should contact Secure Report. The company was told to recontact Minister Chang. They did, and Minister Chang said, "Okay, his office said, we just want you to know that we're acknowledging the receipt of the proposal." This is 2017. The proposal was provided, and this is 2020 that they're saying, yeah, we received it, and nothing has been done. Now, if you look at that proposal as I have, you quickly realize that this was the saving grace for Jamaica, right? If there was one, because of the technology and the training and the people, and the hardware, the software, everything. And guess what, Mr. Barneswell? You know what the cost would have been to the Jamaican people? Zero. Because the proposal was that they would collect from tourists coming to Jamaica when they buy an airline ticket, they put on a $5 or a $10 and get back the money. They wouldn't charge the Jamaican government anything. The problem was that this system was linked. We're going to link it to Interpol, CIA, DEA, all of these international law enforcement and intelligence agencies, and that would have been problematic for the government. So just ignore it. Today, that proposal is still on their desk, and them still not render an opinion as to whether or not they're going to accept it or not, and it's free. So, it's a sad state when you have to be mindful of, and you have to be hopeful as you are, because we hope that you wouldn't be in that position, that people could walk about freely and live their lives as normal humans. But that is not going to happen given the proliferation of weapons into the country. And we're seeing them talk about the murder rate being low. And Mr. Barneswell, I can just when you talk to your police friends, ask them how many dead bodies they put in a category called death investigations going back to 2016, and they haven't decided hundreds, and they haven't decided how many people yet, the cause of death for those people from 2016. They still haven't decided yet. And ask them about death investigations category, ask them about the suicide category, ask them about the self-defense category, and finally ask them about the missing persons category. Ask them about that. That's where they put the bodies, if you want to know. So I'll leave you with that. It's full.
Well, thanks. That's food for thought. I didn't realize that those areas we need to shine this. So maybe at the next get to interact with the crime fighter for the parish, and they ask about Clarendon as it relates to those things that just brought to my attention. Right, because I didn't know that, but I will. I'm laughing, and let's hope I remember to raise it with the crime chief.
If you don't remember, call me and I'll get it to you.
Yes. Whatever you need, Mr. Barnes, or whatever you need, we're on top of the thing. We're on top of the issues. So whatever you need to keep your people safe and secure, please call Mr. Jeffrey Tavares. We have all the documentation. We have all the arguments.
I will do so. I'll do so.
Before you
Thanks,
go
man.
now,
Appreciate it.
before you go now, though, you answer this question, though, it can go. $3 trillion in account before in this country, sir.
Jeffrey, no start me up. No start me up, Jeffrey. No start me up.
So, Tabaris, I tell him, it's that I'm gone.
All right.
Over that by far. But for see, that's another conversation.
All right, then. When can I have you back on? When can I have you back on?
Dollars, or $3 trillion miss it. And no trace. Trace is just, well, I hope there's trace of it. But we'll see. Can you send that up at another time?
Don't stay away too long, sir. Please don't stay away too long.
Well, after the Christmas, it will be good. I think we maybe can look at the new year as to what's the plan and program going forward in 2025. So by election pending. So as a candidate for Southeast Clarendon, I think I have some conversation around that.
Then I'll definitely give you a call and have you on the program. Not on telephone though, but you can come on and sit and chat to us.
Not a problem. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Again, pleasure talking to you.
Take care of yourself.
Okay,
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Former mayor for Clarendon, Councillor Ian Barneswell, coming on the program here to speak to us. Mr. Rattigan, I saw something in the paper here in Miami, in Florida here, the Florida Weekly. You have it there with you?
No, but go ahead. Talk to me about it.
Yes, where they said $3 trillion is an account before. And you have some JLP people saying, not so. The money's there. It's just that they haven't put it up in the right and proper way to have it accountable for.
Jeffrey, I tell you, tell anybody who tell you that, tell them tune in this Saturday because we have everything. We're prepping this thing. We couldn't do it properly last week, but we have everything finished now. The videos and everything finished right now. And we're going to do a tutorial this Saturday. And we're going to show people how the money, when the money comes in, where the money go. We're going to show people that there is a difference. There's a difference in what they're saying. You have unaccounted funds, you have missing funds, and you have stolen funds. And we are going to take one expenditure and we're going to track and trace that expenditure and show you that it's not unaccounted for. It's not missing. It's not. We're going to show them, and we're going to show them the tricks of the Jamaican, where the ministries played and make people who shouldn't have gotten 127 million Jamaican dollars. They got away with it scot-free. Can't hear you.
Look at Mr. Rattigan. How is it that we have a former Minister of Education who is now the current Minister of Finance? Her ministry, under her watch, millions went down. Nobody with millions disappeared too. One person, they pay money over to somebody who is the company that exists at all.
That's the expenditure we're going to use as an object lesson. We're going to put that out there and show. We're going to ask the public: is this when them tell us the money not missing? And we want them to explain it because guess what? Like you say, the money gone like Sammy Mo. That money is not coming back. That money is not coming back. And and they know where the money went. It's not coming back because you know why? Them dilly-dally, and I'm not going to accuse them of willfully doing it, but they might be accused of negligently allowing it to happen. The statute of limitation run upon the surcharge. The surcharge action where you file a surcharge action and say, we want the money back from this person. They make it run. So now they're barred. Them can't get the money back. So I want them tell me now that $127 million there, is that unaccounted funds? Is that missing funds? Or is that stolen funds?
And not only that, you have some members of the Jamaica Labour Party who get money from Montego Bay Metro. And, some of them love to chap. And they're watching us, They come to talk kind of damn nonsense. That the money's there. They know the money's there. And nobody can come out like what Jeanette Calder did and show us tutorials or anything and say, okay, this is where the money went. That is whatever. Nothing. Yet they say the money's there.
Right. Look, unaccounted funds, it means that the funds are supposed to be in a certain place and they're not, and the funds are not there. Missing funds is the same thing. So it's like a distinction without a difference. Whether it's missing or unaccounted for, the fact of the matter is that it wasn't spent for the purpose for which it was originally disbursed for. So if the 127 million was to fix a school, right? We know said the school not fixed, and the money nobody know the money there. So it no matter how them want twist, or how them want turn it, or them want interpret it, it don't really matter. At the end of the day, the money, the purpose for which the money was earmarked has not been satisfied. So if them want to call it, and the idea them come and tell us, oh, there was a system in place, and because of the system, this. Guess what? That system was implemented in 2022. They have been in power since 2016. So when them come out and tell people lie talk about, oh, because of the system and we need to get this and that. It's a look. When they said system, the question is it a reclassification of funds, or is it a complete system change where the formulas, everything different? That's what the system that them put in. It's called the accrual system, and all it is, it just says that if you disburse something, you don't account for it when the purpose has been satisfied. You account for it the moment of disbursal. So, for example, if you sell something, it's called the cash system versus the accrual system. The cash system would be like if you sell something, right? If you sell something and you have like a 30-day grace period, you don't account for that money until if you are the one who sell the product, you don't account for that money on your books until you get the money back. Under the accrual system, them say, no, once you sell the thing, you account for it and say, okay, this money is here, even though it's not there. But them do it because them say it balances out things right away, because otherwise you might have a problem. Like, for example, too, even for some tax purposes, they said, like December now, you sell something, but you don't get the money till January. I know you have to account for it in January. And them said, no, the moment you sell it, whether you get the money or not, the moment I give it to you, Jeffrey, I account for it on my books and say, yes, me get the money, even though you don't pay me and you won't pay me until next year. And I can't claim, normally I wouldn't be able to claim it until next year. But now they're saying, no, once the goods leave your hands, then you account for it. It's very simple to explain. And we're going to explain it this Saturday. And we're going to show, say, what them do, and I talk about the system of the problem and this and the previous government, pure lies. Pure lies. And by the way, Jeffrey, tell all of the listeners, them, folks, do me a favor. If you have the time, please tune in and tomorrow morning and watch the tomorrow the post cabinet briefing. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Wednesday. Oh yeah, Tuesday Parliament. Yeah, Wednesday. Tune in. Dandre Robson, my son like me, the financial controller. Hey, Dandre, you know who a financial controller? The Prime Minister, I know. That was when I'm asking him occupation in 1997 when he was running for election. And they asked him his occupation. He said financial controller. And that him say, I can't even find my name. I'll look for it because I don't know if I go find it or no. But that him say,
yes, that's what he said. I want everyone to know that after 7 o'clock at 8 o'clock, we'll be having a program, Pastor Rape 12-year-old in Bronx, New York. And he was deported back to Jamaica. And he opened a church down there. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. He's on New York State sex register list. Yet he's allowed to go back to Jamaica, open a church in Jamaica, and the Minister of Injustice, Delroy Chuck, refused to make the sex register public in Jamaica. So stay tuned for that program. I'm sorry, you'll be available for that program, so you have to go to that meeting again tonight.
Yeah, I forgot the meeting at 8:30.
At 8:30. Okay. So that means that you can see us a little bit then.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to finish talk about what is going on within Clarendon and the financial sector, and then we'll just switch over to that program, sir. Go ahead for me.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me just close this out.
We're listening and watching from around the world of the Eastern Caribbean. This is the Mek Wi Talk program. Share up the live feed, people. Share up the live feed now. We're going to dig deep. We have an attorney at law here with us. We're going to dig deep in what is going on. Jamaica has some people in the pulpit who can chop some tongues. Rama Mama Sosia, who stole the Honda. My good friend Tigo always said to me, Mama. Tigo, good night to you, my friend.
You know what funny, Jeffrey? What funny, you know, is that him used to big up the Integrity Commission, you know, the Prime Minister. No, him not nothing good. Him not nothing to say about them. Nothing to say about them.
So I want everyone right now, share up this live feed. Share this live feed far and wide. Share up this live feed down to Spanish Town Road, Waterhouse, all the churches in this country that we call Jamaica. Share the live feed to members of the churches in this country. Share the live feed to pastors and bishops and Metropolitan Premier of the Holy Hill Zion churches. Share the live feed to them because we're going to dig deep in this. A well-known pastor, we're not calling on him yet. Sexually assaulted, raped 2 young ladies. One in his church, 12-year-old got pregnant for him, and a 13-year-old. And this man is allowed to back in Jamaica. He opened a church now on Spanish Town Road. Open a church on Spanish Town Road. And going on with his hanky-panky same way.
Them supposed to sue the government, you know, because when him get deported, him file would have come.
I want to ask you, Mr. Rattigan, as a former FBI agent attorney at law, when a person is deported from the United States or wherever for committing a crime, does a file come to Jamaica with them?
Yeah, that information is provided to the authorities. So they know when just send people come back to Jamaica and nobody knows what's going on. That's why they have a processing center too, you know. When you come off of the plane, they're supposed to process, you know, and let you back to the country. And they're supposed to do some kind of surveillance to make sure, say, come back and go on with the foolishness. But none of that is happening. Them not just send people back and nobody don't know why. Because here's why them know. Let me tell you why them know. Because before you can be deported, your embassy must be notified.
The Jamaican embassy?
The Jamaican embassy is notified. And because what happens is that the Jamaican embassy have to give them some documentation. If them don't have a passport or anything like that, Jamaican government is notified that, yes, we're sending back these people. Them know.
Let me ask you this question. In 2011, who was the Jamaican ambassador to Washington, D.C.?
2011?
Yes.
Was that Vassiani? No, it wasn't him.
It was Stephen Vassiani, yes.
It was Stephen Vassiani?
Yes.
You sure?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Was it? I think, yes, it was Stephen Vassiani. And then, after Stephen left, the great lady who is there now, Her Excellency, Jamaica's well-renowned ambassador, who's loved all over the globe, she's there now. So you're saying to us, Mr. Rattigan, that people who are being deported from the United States to Jamaica, the ambassador is supposed to know about it. All
yes.
Right. I'm going to play something for you. And I want you to listen to this. In the interest of time, I want you all to listen to this. Hold on for me, please, everybody. Let me get this thing up and going here. In the interest of time, let me get this. Oh, Lord. One moment for us, please. Let me get this thing up and going here. I'm trying to get the mic system here on the phone to play something here for you. Bear with us, please, that we get this up here. Bear with us. We're listening and watching from around the world and the Eastern Caribbean. This is the Mek Wi Talk program.
No, hey, Jeffrey.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Now look on this, and it's in 2011, the ambassador was Audrey Marks.
Was Audrey Marks?
Yeah, same person here now.
So that means she knows about this pastor from New York. And if she knows about this pastor from New York, why is this thing not working? The devil is a liar. Sure, I think I continue talking. I get this thing fixed a minute. Continue talking, please.
Yeah, man. Audrey Marks says maybe she took over in 2011, but she certainly was there in 2011. So, she has not been a good representative for the people of Jamaica overseas. So, we heard that she was supposed to have left back in August, September timeframe before the UN General Assembly, which, as most of you know, is the assembly of all of the world leaders in New York for the annual meeting. And generally speaking, when governments are making changes, they try and make the changes, if it's like mid-year, they try and make it just before hunger so that you don't have the old people going to hunger, you have the new people going in. And so she was supposed to, based on what we're hearing from our sources at the Jamaican, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade on Port Royal Street, we're hearing that she was supposed to depart last August, September, and her replacement was none other than former Police Commissioner Anthony Anderson. That didn't work out because we didn't see that switch. That switch didn't take place. She didn't go back home, and he didn't come here. So now we're hearing from some of those same sources that she's supposed to be leaving the end of this month. We don't know. But I can tell you that we're hoping that it is true, because she's a colossal creator, and we as a diaspora, we would love for her to kindly exit and go back and do whatever she does best in the business world, because she certainly failed in the diplomatic world. So that's where we are. Oh, 2011. When was that? Let me see. If
March 21st, 2011, 11:53 p.m. Let me play this for you all. Listen to this.
Bronx pastor Michael Clare rejects plea deal in rape case published March 21, 2011, 11:53 p.m. ETA Bronx pastor accused of raping and impregnating a young girl from his church had rejected a plea deal that could have sent him from the Lord's house to the big house for 2 years. His lawyer said today, instead, holy man Michael Clare, 38, intends to face trial on charges that he repeatedly sexually assaulted the young girl over a 3-year period, beginning when she was just 12 years old and a member of his Harvest Worship Center, according to Clare's lawyer Paul Brenner. In November, more than a month before he was indicted, Clare had been offered the promise of a sentence of just 2 years in prison if he accepted a plea deal in the Bronx Supreme Court case, Brenner said. Now that Clare has been indicted on multiple counts of rape, the pastor is adamant that he will go to trial and refuse any plea offer, Brenner said. Clare faces up to 25 years in prison if convicted. Prosecutors purportedly have DNA evidence from the girl's aborted fetus which shows that Clare is the father. Brenner said that Judge Megan Talmer in court today told him and a prosecutor that she might have considered giving Clare a sentence of 10 years on probation, with no prison time, but that she was not willing to do so in this case given the existence of the DNA evidence. The married pastor remains free on $50,000 bond.
All right. The married pastor remains. That was then. We must welcome our good friend here, Luke George, who's coming on the program here. Come on. Mr. Rattigan, you listen to that, sir. Well, let's say something else again. Because he ended up sexually assaulting a 13-year-old too. Again, he did a 12-year-old in church and a 13-year-old at the school who is the principal for.
As of March 18, 2011,
Yes.
the Jamaican ambassador to the United States was Audrey Marks.
So Ambassador Marks knew about this then. Mr. Rattigan?
She should have. Her office certainly would have known about it if it happened around that time. If this happened in March, if the guy went home in March, yes, certainly she would have known about it. Or she should have known about it. She was there in March. I'm trying to say if she was, let me see if she was here in February. Because if she was here in February, then we know for sure that.
Based on what you just heard a while ago, Mr. Rattigan, me looking for that. Your take on what you just heard. The pastor was charged, got a plea deal. The next thing I'm going to play, he refused the plea deal. Listen to this. Go on to the next clip. Let's go over to the next clip that came on here. This is it right here. That's him. Let us go to the next clip here. And play this one here.
Bronx pastor pleads guilty to rape after DNA evidence of aborted baby links him to girl reporter Friday, January 17. 2014, former New York pastor Michael Clare pleaded guilty on Wednesday to charges that he raped 2 teenage girls, one of whom attended his church in the Bronx. In 2011, Clare was accused of sexually assaulting and impregnating a then 12-year-old girl who had attended his storefront church, Harvest Worship Center International. While the girl had an abortion, investigators reportedly claimed they had been able to match his DNA with that of the baby, said the Village Voice. Prosecutors had alleged that the abuse had lasted for nearly 3 years before the girl reported it to her parents. After the initial charges, the married Clare maintained his innocence and rejected a plea deal that would have sent him to prison for 2 years. In 2012, Clare was arrested again, this time for reportedly sexually assaulting a student at the high school where he worked as a principal. According to the indictment, Clare sexually assaulted the girl at least 3 times between 2009 and 2011, beginning when the girl was 14 to until she turned 16. This time he was hit with 1 count each of second-degree rape, sexual misconduct, third-degree criminal sexual act, endangering the welfare of a child, and 3 counts of sexual abuse. According to the 2012 indictment, the relationship at the center of these new charges continued long after the defendant was arrested and indicted in 2010 for his alleged conduct concerning the first victim. Clare will be formally sentenced on January 30th. He must also register as a sex offender and under the terms of the plea deal will serve up to 5 years in prison.
Hold on there for me. He must also register as a what? A sex offender. He did not commit the crime in Jamaica, we agree. But he's back in Jamaica now, around young girls. He's a registered sex offender in the state of New York. Isn't that so, Mr. Rattigan? What the gentleman said a while ago?
Yeah, and this man, you know, he has demonstrated that he's a prolific child molester, because when them said the reports him raped two girls,
two girls,
right.
112 and 113.
It's a real, well, not really. Him shouldn't have nothing to do with liquor picking, man. I'm supposed to take care of liquor picking them, not take care of like we might take care of them. No, supposed to protect them. But
well, news reaching the Mek Wi Talk program is that this pastor, this so-called pastor who loves to chop in the tongues, is a pastor of a church on Spanish Town Road. And I get to understand that he's Jeffrey behave himself. He's sextitary. He engaged in sextitary. He also has a baby, not with the secretary, with somebody else. And the mothers of the church, look like they're just washing it up. No, like how his pictures out there. Should I put his pictures up?
Yeah, picture out there. No, them, you see the thing that people them just put up in picture.
Yes. Luke George could come on in with this now. As you hear what is going on, your views on this, sir. Jamaica has this man in the country who's a well-known sex offender in New York. And he's now in Jamaica as a pastor.
Well, Jeffrey, evening to you and Rattigan. I'm a little bit surprised because if that's the case, he would have had to be, it would have had to be noted with the CDA and the sex offender register that this person would have been charged and as such have been convicted of the offense in a previous situation. So I'm wondering, how is it that the registry did not pick this up on his extradition to Jamaica? And I don't know in terms of what the police would have done having received that information when he was coming into the country. So it would be good to find out, was the CDA aware of the charge, hence the deportation and re-entry into the country, as to why he was not put on that register. And that register is available to John Public, that once you have been charged with sex offense or abuse of a minor, in any case, that you would have had to be placed on the registry for all and sundry to know.
Luke?
You can hear me, Jeffrey?
Yes, go ahead now. I'm hearing it properly now. Go ahead.
How much of this information the church was vested with, and what would have been the church's response to having somebody who was charged with this serious crime around children in the church. So was it that they know, and how we are in Jamaica, the Bible says you must speak about the man of God? Was a case where the church felt that they should not have spoken and spoken out against the man, and therefore it also begs one to have to question, is the RGD who now grants ministers license to practice and the Ministry of National Security and the other agents that would have been part and parcel of granting him a license to practice, knowing that the circumstances surrounding his re-entry into the country had to do with him being convicted by a court in New York. And when Rattigan talks about who was the ambassador, how much of what the extradition of Jamaicans coming into Jamaica are shared with the relevant agency for them to take steps in preventing any child who have had to experience this level of trauma, to work with that child to try to prevent them from having this horrific experience. My response is going to be, I'd love to see what the church community is going to do now that this poor girl will have to live with this trauma for the rest of her life, and how much church are going to speak out against practice.
Well, hold on, Mr. Sir Luke. He committed this crime in upstate New York, you know. He spent 7 years in upstate New York in a prison up there. All right? In the school that he was the principal of was attached to the church. He was deported back to Jamaica.
But Jeffrey, if he spent 7 years in prison, was it was the church aware of the crime that he was in prison for,
You
and
mean
what steps they put in place to prevent an occurrence of this crime? So is it that they were complicit in allowing this man to come back and just leave the little children to his care? Hence, now a third victim, since we know of two previously, now a third victim has been victimized by this predator. And I'm saying, what is the response of the Child Development Agency now that this have come to light? I don't
know what's going on. Luke is going in and out.
Jeffrey?
Luke, you're going in and out, Luke. You're going in and out.
All right, I'm trying to adjust the mic, so give me a second.
Yes. Mr. Winner Luke adjust his mic. Mr. Rattigan, come on in here. In all of what you're hearing now, Mr. Rattigan, as an attorney at law and a retired FBI agent, what would you have done if you were in Jamaica and that case come to you? That he was a registered sex offender in the state of New York, committed how many crimes in New York, in Bronx, then he was deported back to Jamaica. Unmute your mic, Mr. Rattigan. Unmute your mic.
It's simple. You know, it's a matter of public record. So, you know, you would report him to the relevant agencies, and you'd say, look, this is one person that you really have to keep your eye on. This is not somebody who was arrested for like shoplifting or fraud or something like that. You know, this is somebody who was arrested and charged and convicted of some serious crimes. That so much so that he went and spent 7 years in prison. And for you to spend 7 years in a state prison, it means that you got at least 21 years in prison, because you serve a third of your time, generally speaking, in a New York state, and then they release you upon good behavior. So if he spends 7 years inside it, no, let me ask you a question. Was he sentenced to 7 years, or did he do 7 years in prison?
He do 7 years in prison.
But if him do 7 years in prison, then he's looking at, we're looking at 21 years. 21 years that they sentence him to, and he do a third and come out. So it's a lot of time. And for him to come out, and then the embassy would have known about this, should have known about this, ought to have known about this. And then once, and when I say embassy, it happened in New York. So the CG, the consulate in New York would have known about this. But there's no way that this information should be passed on to Washington, D.C. to let them know, hey, this is what's going on with our Jamaican citizens living in America. So the embassy, put this way, the Jamaican government would have, ought to have known about it. Since the guy spent 7 years and he was deported. The other thing too is, for his deportation, was it a voluntary departure, or did he go to court to fight it? It sounds to me like it was a voluntary departure.
Apparently, he didn't want to fight the deportation. He just decided to come down.
Right, so take voluntary departure and go home. So, you know, this is something that should have been the Jamaican government should have taken adequate steps to ensure that this man and their own liquor picnic, you know. So, because it looked like him have a problem with liquor picnic. So, I don't know.
Well, the church is on Spanish Town Road. And based on what I'm hearing, news reaching the Mek Wi Talk News Center, it's alleged that, alleged, he was charged for the thing. Then he come back to Jamaica. He's back in Jamaica. And he opened a church. Now, is the church registered with the Company Office of Jamaica? We don't know. We're trying to find that out. New Evolution Church on Spanish Town Road. No, I don't like people to look up at, you know. I'm a dirty man. Una dirty pastors in the pulpit preaching and chopping in tongues. And I called Sissoko, nobody answered the phone. I left a message, nobody reached out to me. And I'm saying to Sissoko again tonight, reach out to me. Because when you have a sex predator, we don't know if he's sexually harassing young girls in the church same way. He's back in Jamaica, and you know how Jamaican people gullible. For instance, if you have an accident, they come to your church because you can't heal them. He's a dirty man. And if Mr. Rattigan, if the Jamaican authorities, sir, not doing anything about this, that means that let's leave everything up because the Minister of Justice refused to let the Sex Register Act be public. What do you take on that, sir? Not hearing you.
He refused, the minister refused to do what?
The Minister of Justice, Delroy Chuck, Minister of Injustice, refused to let the sex register be made public.
Well, and what was his rationale for that?
I don't remember what he said, you know. But until now, it can't be made public because I assume some people of the echelon of the society, some people of the Vumvu, Upper St. Andrew, is on it.
Well, we have to go back and look at the statute, see what the statute said, because I know they have one that protects personally identifiable information, and I'm sure they'll probably put that up to block the release of information to the general public. But it just goes to show that we're not safe with this government. We're trying to hold them accountable, but you know, it's tough. We're not safe with them because listen to what the man said about listen to what Mr. Barneswell said about Clarendon. You know, Mr. Barneswell, what would he power if I do?
I want Luke come on back in here. What do you think that the CPSA should do? Because you remember Mr. Rattigan, under the former Minister of Education, a man from Washington State was allowed to come into the country, rape off ward of the state, and we heard nothing more about it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That this ambassador here is useless because this is something that she should be pursuing with the U.S. State Department to say, listen, this man has to go back to face charges. The other thing about it is that were charges filed against him. Were charges filed against him. At the very least, what the ambassador should have done is say, listen, we need access to him. We need to interview him about these things. Even if they didn't file charge, just say there have been allegations and we just want to talk to him to kind of get to this thing. But she's useless. If you ask her about that case, she probably don't even know. She'll tell us that she don't know nothing about it. Because you see, especially now, because all the Panfiarma I know, I forgot the party them, the Christmas party them in Washington. That's all. And by the way, the CG up in New York, nobody think you'll get her from we, you know. Nobody think say you can slip and slide and duck and dive. Because you know, we are hearing that you're leaving. We don't know if it's true. If it's true, may God go with you. But don't go too far because we want when the investigators them come, we want them to talk to you and find out what you know, if anything, about the Prime Minister's investments and you know, information overseas. Because we know that you were a big star down on Wall Street and you know everything when it comes to finances. So if the Prime Minister was looking to shield funds, you would have been the person that he would have reached out to. Now, we don't know if he reached out. We know he reached out to you, but we don't know if he reached out to you on that particular issue. So that's why we want investigators to come and talk to you and see what you know. And please don't lie to them, because if you lie to them, you're going to end up wearing orange jumpsuit because it's a federal violation to lie to federal officials. So I wouldn't want to see you go there, so because I wouldn't think you'll make it. You know, so you need to just come clean and tell them what you know. If you don't know anything, you don't know anything. But if you do know something, then you tell them. So that's that. And by the way, big up our CG down in a Miami. Hardest working man in the business. So, sir, you have our respect and you have our love and you have our attention because you do the thing, you know. You really people call out to you and you jump around and you help and you're visible and everything in the community. You know, unlike the other two. So, big up yourself, sir.
Luke, I want you to come on in now, Luke. What do you think the CPS, the Child Protection Service should be doing?
No, Jeffrey, clear, you know, the sex offense registry was established in 2009, and basically it tells you that there has to be 14 days after the main offense have been committed. You have what is called the mandatory reporter. This is why I'm saying it should go just the pastor, but was the church aware and did members of the church?
Hold on for me, Luke. Remember, you know, this was committed in New York, you know. Not in Jamaica.
But didn't he rape a minor in Jamaica?
No, he did not.
Okay.
He raped the 2 minors in New York.
Well, since he did not rape a minor in New York, I don't know how, in Jamaica, sorry, I don't know how they would treat with it. But I would imagine that if you have a registry and this is a concern, and you can show the document, the documents to say that this was his charge, then he should really not be allowed to go around children, and therefore it is the duty of the Child Development Agency and the sex registration register to see to that the members of the church are aware, and that people should know that they should not have their children around him. If they do so, they do so at their own risk.
Hold on for me, Luke. We're going to say goodbye to Mr. Ratty. He has to go to a meeting now. Ratty, thanks very much for coming.
Yeah, you're entirely welcome, sir. See you soon. Everybody, big up on yourself. Take care. And we'll see you tomorrow night, one Mystic, and Wednesday night on Come Reason with Rattigan. Big up on yourself.
Yes. So, Luke.
Yeah.
You're saying that based on all of this, then, is a possibility that the Jamaican authority may not do anything about it?
Jeffrey, again, I don't know the circumstances around the expedition, his extradition to Jamaica.
Well,
upon arrival,
based on all of this, everybody can go to Google. I'm going to give his name soon. Go to Google and Google his name.
Yeah.
Michael Clare, Pastor Michael Clare. Go to Google and Google his name, and you see everything there. Then Mek Wi Talk, we're not making up anything. Go ahead for me.
Right. So again, Jeffrey, as I'm saying, upon his return to Jamaica, one would question what the authority that would have been given in terms of the file. And as such, is there anything that clearly states on the section, the section of the Offense Act with 77 and 79 of the Offense Against the Persons Act, which will now dictate that his information will be shared with the child registry, and as such have persons from the office of the children advocate visited the church. Have there been any attempt to reach out to him and say, okay, we have to now have your name registered with the registry, and we will have to make it public to the church member that this was a charge against you? I have to find out from attorney at law, now that he has returned to Jamaica, what right do we have in this jurisdiction to ensure that those protocols are followed, and that he is being treated like any other sex offender to ensure the safety of children that might be in his care. And again, what is the church response in all of this once that becomes public? Because them say really and truly nothing is unknown to the Jamaican public. If it not go so, it go near so, and somebody must have heard this story. Why would you have allowed him to just come back into the fold and welcome him back with open arms? And that's not
and he was allowed to open a church on Spanish Town Road. And I get to understand that some well-known pastors in this country and some well-known big shot in this country and some well-known metropolitan premiers of the Holy Hill Zion churches, they're aware of it.
Look, pastors are not immune. They are no different from the everyday average person. We look at what had happened to that well-known Methodist minister who had been having sex with possible 2 children, and as a result of poverty, and he was being shielded by the principal of a well-known girls' school, and it's like 9-day talk, and then we go back to being numb. I've been in situation where you hear a pastor get teenagers pregnant in church, and members are say, "Oh, but him not gay. A woman he must sleep with, and is not a woman." How do you equate at 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old up to 17? And I know that we have now moved the age of consent for sex to persons at the age of 16. That is something that I think that we should revisit as a country. There is no way that we should say that at the age of 16, an old grown grave-torn man is having sex with that child, and that is okay as long as you can say, "Oh, it's consenting sex." There is a lot to be desired by what we have allowed in this country, but it also speaks to that patriarchal society who still see a woman as a womb, and not as a person, because I don't think you should have even negotiated that the legal age of consent should have been 18. And so all of these children, Jeffrey, that are turning up at the Victoria Jubilee maternity ward, 12, 11, 13, 14, how many of those men have been prosecuted for having sex with that child?
Well, based on what I'm hearing now, Luke, that he engaged one in the church, his secretary, and there's a baby that he has somewhere in the country. Can't go to our country, no. He loves to go to the country. That's where he has all his sexualities. In the country part of Jamaica.
Yeah, man.
And based on all of that, the mothers of the church on Spanish Town Road know all about this, because when the baby mother from country come up, the mother of the church, let's shield it. If you not drink water, they drink water, the same battle with him.
Look, it's sad to say that, as I said before, people who are men, and some now women of the cloth, they believe that they have ultimate powers. I mean, some of the things that have become acceptable in the church blows my mind. I just wonder where people's righteousness are when it comes to how we have adjust our behavior to allow some of these maladaptable behaviors to become acceptable, and how we allow predators to take over the pulpit. The thing is that I really would love to find registration, but not. Yes.
We have lost you. Repeat what he said.
No, why we can't take away his registration and have him placed on the register, and therefore make members of the public aware of who these people are, and stop them. The churches on Spanish Town Road, some of them are rapacious. For instance, like this, you hear so people go down there sometime for spiritual healing, and pastor tell them, so them have to have oral sex, with them. The stories on that Spanish Town Road strip and the wider cross section of the church where the sheep becomes the property of the shepherd to do whatever he or she choose to do with it is alarming, and we need to put children on the priority of our list, that we shouldn't allow these child trauma, because many of these people we look at in terms of the research, and we see that they go on to live in promiscuous life, and some of them even go on to having some serious STDs, HIV, AIDS infection, because we as the society did not protect them. We didn't protect their innocence. So again, I'm saying that this is not an isolated case. Almost every day in Jamaica, people backslide because pastor living at them home or them bottom. And we have, as a society, have now, depending on who it is, we have become accepting of that kind of behavior. I mean, I heard one person say Mary was only 13 when she became pregnant, and Joseph might have been having sex with her because it was customary at that time to have sex with children of that age. So much so that there was a minister of religion in Jamaica who was pushing the whole idea of polygamy, and children were not excused from his taking or asking. So I'm not alarmed. I'm just saying that, how does the institutions that are supposed to protect the citizen, how effective are they? And this is when we need Jeffrey to do that investigating journalism that says, if he come into the country, the child registry is aware of that. What is their role and responsibility to respond to that and to ensure that we are keeping children safe? Is he visited by the police on a regular basis? Will he be required to report to a police station? How did he get a license to become a minister of religion in Jamaica? If quote unquote we have that information, and how do we do the sensitization exercise that allow the church community to be more vigilant if they still want to keep him as their pastor? I don't see why they would want to, but let us say that people have become accepted of the fact that sometimes them deem these people as people of God. Say you never speak ill against the man or woman of God. But it is a sad situation if we allow this good time to have the discussion again about the Child Care and Protection Act, what it means to be mandatory reporters if we allow people like that to continue to be. And it would be good to see the churches along Spanish Town Road and the wider cross section, the Jamaica Council of Church, take a decisive position as to what must happen to people who engage in this sort of behavior, because it doesn't spell well for the church. The church was there to make sure that the vulnerable and the poor and the dispossessed was protected and served in a loving way, not being molested and traumatized as a result of the gospel that they tend to preach, whether they are in a synagogue,
Yeah.
in a temple, in a mosque on that tree. We need the church to speak up and speak
Right.
loud.
And the name of the church is New Evolution Church, 579 to 581 Spanish Town Road, Sissoko.
It's not Sissoko. It's the Children Registry and the Office of the Child Advocate, and that falls under the remit of the. It also falls, Jeffrey, under the remit of the correctional services. So we need somebody from the correctional services to say, what is the tenets of a return person with such a crime attached to their name. It amazed me that something gets swept under the carpet while something, when you think of the situation of Carlos Hill coming back to Jamaica with Cash Plus, his criminal records were placed in the papers. Should we have a place in the Jamaican papers? Because the Jamaican papers do report offenses committed in Jamaica.
As a matter of fact, the Jamaica Observer did do a piece on him. Radio Jamaica did do a piece on him too. So the question must be asked tonight. How is it that this man, this pastor, this dirty man, who is in the public preaching and chopping some tongues, Mama Sosia, who stole the Honda? How is that this man committed such a gruesome crime in the United States is allowed back into this country to open a church amongst young people? He engaged one right now, but she's so stupid because you know that's for sham. In go a country, go do if you do a country. If left and town go in a country, nobody can go in yard a man devil, you know. Nobody from the church can go in yard a man devil. And the question must be asked tonight. Is something going to be done to this pastor who has committed a crime? He love young people, love little young girl. Because the old one, them now do the cool and deadly what he want. And the old one, them now do not cool and deadly. Then they're going to the bed with some long drop 90. Him want the young one, them pan the river, pan the bank, pan the river, pan the bank. That's what he wants. But he's a dirty man. He's a dirty man. And he must not be seen. He must not have a church. Go ahead, Luke.
And again, I agree with you, Jeffrey. This is something that we need to have somebody with legal knowledge of it. But I'm looking at the establishment of the sex registry. The sex offense registry in Jamaica is headed by the registry and is under the daily management of the Department of Correctional Service. The sex offense registry was established in July 2014. The registry is governed by the Sex Offense Act of 2009, and the sex offense registry is of sexual offense, regulated in 2012. I find it interesting that one of the facts is that the offenders are kept on sex offense registry and are monitored for at least 10 years before it is eligible for termination of the registration and the report requirement, which means that you can commit such an act, and in 10 years' time, you can appeal to them to have your name be removed. And I think that you have to look at it in terms of other acts, in terms of the person, the act to justice, to see how we can make sure that we identify these players where they are. What I did not see is what is the daily monitoring or the periodic monitoring of such a person. And again, this is where I'm saying that you need to have the church people become vigilant. They have to make a decision.
Luke, hold on a minute now, Luke. Them your church people, you're not going to come no vigilant. Because all them love is drill band. A hell with they go, a hell with they go, a hell with they go, a hell with they go. That's all they love to do is drill band. They don't know church, they don't know vigilant. Hold on for me. There's a call coming. Good night, caller. Welcome to the Mek Wi Talk program. You're live. Hello? No, you're live. You're on air. I am doing good. I'm talking about a pastor on Spanish Town Road has been charged in raping 2 young girls in the Bronx, and he's now back in Jamaica, running a church and jumping in a spirit, saying he wants some white rum.
To do what?
You know, they run church down there with all the young girls them down there. And the sexual said nobody knows that he has committed a crime in the United States all over the. But I don't understand doing the head boy. Is that the Observer brought this news, the Radio Jamaica brought this news, and he's still in Jamaica. The man is in Jamaica running a church on Spanish Town Road with so many young girls around him.
Well, you know, Jeffrey, I keep on telling you, if there has never been any morality, a lot of those who now claim to be holier than thou, they have no morality, you know. Yeah? And if just look at it, if the JLP could have a pastor that is charged for gun crime around them, what else do you expect? Huh? Not alleged, you know. The man was charged. Yeah? And the matter has not been brought up since he has been charged.
So tell me something now, head boy. Is it that and one of the reasons, you know something, you have to ask the question, why is it that Delroy Truck, who is the Minister of Justice, refused to make the situation be public?
Jeffrey, I've said it and I'll say it again. If the sexual offenders registry were made public, at least a quarter of who sit on the JLP side will not be in Parliament.
Oh Lord.
Do you really want us to go down that road?
Yes, because we're talking about it tonight, because this pastor is there chopping some tongues. He look like he does not like the older ones, you know. He loves the younger ones who have Pandy River, Pandy Bank, a Pandy River, a Pandy Bank. You know what I mean?
Well,
because the older folks,
remember,
the older folks,
I don't want
the older folks.
I think
the older folks wear some long drop cotton nighties, you know. Jeffrey, behave yourself. Go ahead for me.
But Jeffrey, I don't want you to forget this, that the society is a reflection. So people think because they hear church that it is different. But the society is a reflection of what happened. So if the church, remember, the church is not excluded from what happens in the society. Who make up the church? The people from the society. And if the society has the same issues, what do you think the church is going to be? What the church is going to be some way inculcated from it? No. But can I take you down another road? Because you know me, I have been a little bit quiet. Yeah.
Hold on for me, head boy. The road, I don't want to come off of this topic, you know.
No, I'm not coming off, Jeffrey, at all. I'm not coming off. But what I'm saying to you is I want to point out something to you, a pressing and urgent matter.
Go ahead.
That is somewhat relating to this because it's a matter of morality. You know this Indian spiritualist that the man bring come there?
Oh, you mean the one that the Prime Minister bring and he was praying for the nation?
Right. You know that he donated $5 million to his Art of Living Foundation.
To who?
To the country. Right?
To who?
To the government of Jamaica.
No.
Huh?
To them who collect it, not to the government. To them who collect it.
No, but hold on, not to the government of Jamaica, Jeffrey. Right? That's what they say. So we were going by the story which was reported. Yeah? No, that is not the smoking gun. Who was present when he donated that foundation, that money? Huh? I want to answer the question. Who was present when he donated the money?
One so-called ambassador.
Who, and a guy from what? Supposed to be some technical guy, no, so? From a particular group of companies. Yeah? Okay. Do you know? And I'm saying to the country that if these guys, there was a Gleaner article published a couple days ago, which he was bemoaning the JCA. And you know what the JCA is? The Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority. Right? And they issue license to persons who want to run the airline. They issue license, they license our airports.
Head boy.
Yeah?
Head boy.
Mm-hmm.
Me no want to go down there with it tonight, you know.
No, I'm not going far. I'm going to wrap up fast, Jeffrey. Right? I'm telling you why I'm saying this, because I think it is very, you never hear me go off topic yet.
Yeah.
The needs to understand what is happening. Somebody just can't take up $5 million just so without anything being given to it. If these guys get approval, they want to fly something similar to a kite. You know the thing what them call kite?
Yes,
Huh? Where you see one man
spying
parasailing, right? The one man in night ultralight, right? The one man in night. They are forcing the hands of the JCA to approve this. To understand money being given is not just being given just like that.
So in other words, it seems that money is being given from this pastor to the JCF to keep them more quiet, for not investigating because in a thief life too, you know. In thief life, hold on for me now. This pastor from Spanish Town Road own the church down there. In a thief life and the thief life from JPS. He has somebody in a JPS where the two of them must be there.
But Jeffrey, I'm pointing to this thing. The so-called, and I was making the point to say this. A lot of those who you see say them they're spiritualists are in Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, Islam, whatever you want to call them. A lot of these guys are just playing around. Right? They're some of the biggest criminals you can find.
Hold on, head boy. Let's look. Go ahead.
Jeffrey, I was just talking to an attorney. He says that the person would have had to commit an offense in Jamaica, but the police would have been aware of it based on the extradition paper and should be monitoring the individual. So maybe for that reason, because and again, I think the other person who you have on the phone, head boy, as you refer to him, did say that the registry is not a public document. And it's like how we said, if night was to turn today, a lot of us probably would have been ashamed. But what I think we need to advocate to do now is to find a way that the Ministry of Justice, the Ministry of National Security, the Correctional Service finds a way of making an amendment to the act to say that any person coming into Jamaica who have been charged of such a crime must be placed on the registry. Hence, what are going to be the steps that are put in place to ensure the safety of children around them? And this is for the same reason I'm saying, Jeffrey, I hope to God that the church is not sacrificing the children at the altar of sacrifice by not doing anything at all about it. But I am agreeing with Head Boy. We have seen a diversion or a direct connection to the spiritualism that is taking place. Yeah, we have heard a story of women going to these spiritual leaders, and part of what they're required to do is have sex. In fact, there was one guy in Spanish Town that was hunted by the brother of a young teenage girl who it was alleged that she was possessed with demons, and the man and his accomplices raped her multiple times. And when the brothers discovered, they took the law into their own hand. It's not an isolated case. It's
what you're saying to me tonight, that until he commits a crime on Jamaican soil, there's nothing they can do about it?
I think they can monitor him, but as far as this attorney,
you haven't anything monitoring him?
I can't know that. Look here, the truth of the matter is that they only come for people who talk about brand Jamaica. They don't seem to identify that part of and parts of the problem is to identify, just as how the red light some district and say these are violent prone areas, nobody should go there. I don't know what is the level of monitoring. You are asking me to go and do the research with the correctional service so that I can come back. Is it you or me?
It's Head Boy have on his sitting.
Right. You're asking me to go and actually investigate with the children registry and the child and the office of the child the child advocate. and the correctional services, what is put in place to ensure that these persons are closely monitored and that the people in the church communities are given sensitization around what is their role and responsibility. But as you rightfully say, we have a society that likes to turn the back of their eye as long as it's not me.
And what we fail to understand also, must understand that a lot of Jamaicans, from you have an accident, you know, where you can't twang, and you come to Jamaica and open a church, and the person who twang asks, what are these? And you say, Guinea. And I ask, how do you eat it? You say, you have yam skin and all. You mean you must eat skin and all? Wrong. So the fact of the matter is, are we gonna have these people coming in this country and sexual assaulting our people because of the foreigner?
But Jesse and Luke, I want to remind you, remember that couple just less than a year ago, the CDA, the Child Development Agency, had the change it to CFSPA, whatever they want to call it now, right? Had a very similar issue where somebody with a checkered past was allowed to be in a children's home.
Yeah, and Ed boy, let us not forget that even children that are in state-run home have been victim of sexual violence so gruesome that I don't know how those kids even survive, because part and parcel of what is practiced in some of these state-run home, when you hear the story, they're not, it not just broke your heart and it mash up your heart as a part of the punishment on a child that might not be liked. The adults look away, or the adults themselves becomes involved with these children. So you see,
but Luke and Jeffrey, and not to cut you, brother Luke, I want to say, right, and I can say this definitively with no water in my mouth, that one of the reasons why the sexual offenders registry will never come to light, because there are persons within the governing party who would be without a position in the party because they would be in prison.
well,
Let me say with no fear, and I'll say why. And I'll say why. There is an affidavit which was issued by a young lady from my constituency in Western St. Mary, accusing an individual. I'm not calling anybody name, yeah, but it was issued, right? We who in St. Mary, no prominent persons who are involved in the nonsense. And I'm saying the reason for the covering is that these, and not just we're talking about rape. We also must understand that they're in certain societies, like certain places in the Vumva V and the Vumva Va, where situations of incest. Hello? It has not been. So when you have a conversation, Jeffrey, it needs to be broader than just looking at individuals who are involved in this, to also even very family members. Yeah. So we have to broaden discussion, but I am very much disappointed in Minister Chuck, because he has been Minister of Justice for over 9 long years, and his only claim to fame now is to push his daughter to run for his seat. Delroy, whom I know, by the way, who I know supported Audley when he was running for leadership, is not the same Delroy Chuck you have today. Delroy was a person who would speak out against, when he was in opposition, he spoke out, oh, we need to fix this, and it seems for me what happens, right, that these guys are hell-bent, and for some reason, it is a ring of pedophiles that sit on some part of, fit in some aspects of that organization. And I'm not saying that the PNP is without these issues, because if you're sitting in the PNP and you're a pedophile, you need to be charged. I don't business who you are, I don't run joke when you come on to persons who are underage. I think it is wrong, and I think it is high time for us to have that. And what they have done with this thing, we put it at correctional services. First of all, police officers in Jamaica are some of the most. Let me tell you, if the list was to be published, we maybe wouldn't have quarter of the police force too. Hello? If the list was to be published, we wouldn't have half of maybe quarter of the JDF and the correctional services, because a lot of the perpetrators are within those institutions. So how could you put within correctional services the list? They determine the public list. Go ahead, Luke.
And we wouldn't have a lot of these teachers in school because there's a breeding ground for where children are being abused. A whole lot.
Oh man, a teacher from the station school in high school to go free.
But I will tell you privately who that person is related to, and you will understand why.
Who from the school?
Yes.
Bangaran.
You'll understand why, and what is this connection to the executive of the West Rural apparatus of the Jamaica Labour Party, and you'll realize why.
And so, Jeffrey, you recognize why we have such a high crime rate, because people just don't know where to go because of these people and their connection. You have to be careful. I mean, when Reverend Fowler was doing the human trafficking, where they were picking up young girls from one part of the country in another part of the country, it was not the ordinary people who were requesting the sexual services of these youths. It was the people with deep pockets, and she met up on a lot of roadblocks. To this day, I believe that one of the reasons why Reverend Fowler died at that early age in her attempt to bring this injustice to light is as a result of the fact that she died from a broken heart, because just by speaking out, the backlash that came as a result of just standing up for the ordinary Jamaican children. I mean, nobody in this country, like Head Boy, who speaks out, are ever given a real place at the table. These are not the people who are promoted to protect the integrity of our laws. These are people who they are labeled as troublemakers, and oftentimes are scorned and scoffed at and overlooked for position. But the new administration needs to put some people that are tough in conviction and tough on laws, and ensure that the law work for all Jamaicans, not just some. So it shouldn't be when you look at who is connected to who, because even with that Tatius Golden situation, I was appalled to know that the attorney did not even write the name of the client properly that went to court, and that person now enjoys a level of prominence. People listen to him as a lawyer who gets the job done, but her name was not even entered in court documents properly. So that in itself would have given would have the case have to go to a mistrial, because you can't be Jeffrey Tavares, but when it comes to court, you're Tom Tavares. So even the lawyers, well, I didn't say anything against the gentleman. I just said that you can't have somebody who you're representing, but you can't even have them name properly entered in a document before a court. How can you try a case when you don't even have the proper identity of the individual? But Jeffrey, it is a serious matter. Think that those who say that they are in civil society, and those like Rosalie Hamilton, who seem to have a bully pulpit, who people listen to, the Jeanette Calders of the society, need to stand up and ask for an adjustment to amend the law, so that more people, and I believe that the registry must be made public. If you can be committing the crime, why should we protect your image? Why should we protect you and not the victim? Isn't that it goes against the victim to know that because there is such a law, but it doesn't say who you are, this could happen to somebody else? And what will that do to the victim when they see it happening to other people? Because we are protecting the name of people who are committing serious crime against children. No, we at time we pull off the gloves, man. Was the creature there is a space for forgiveness, but there is something that even the Bible itself says, before you hurt a child, think about it twice. It's better you put a millstone around your neck, because that is how Jesus, God's
Yeah.
children.
Luke, head boy.
Yeah, just look as I run, right?
Where
You
are you?
remember? No, I'm running. You remember there was a Me Too movement that started at the UE, right? And it died a premature death under this administration, right? And you know, when I see people like, without calling anybody name, who sits on the Constitutional Affairs Committee, who she makes the most noise now and behave as if she's a paragon of justice, right?
Of virtue.
One who had started was a part of the Tambourine Army to expose persons who were sexually abused and to say the thing. And I remember none other than the infamous Delrito came out and killed it in its infancy. Yeah? And they brought lawsuit and talked about how dangerous it was because it was calling people's names and all of that. The Me Too movement died within 6 months of its infancy in Jamaica. Let's move away from that. When Lisa Hanna was Minister of Culture, and I am showing you how people deal with things different from how people deal with things different. When she was Minister of Culture, I wonder if Luke remember, she had an individual, not calling anybody's name now, who worked in her ministry in a high level position. And she refused to work with the individual because there were some sexual allegations surrounding the individual and some young men, underage young men. You remember that, Luke?
Yes, yes, yes.
Right? And she kicked tooth and nail to have him removed. And I now see the same. And that is why I say to you, I understand why we have the issues we now have. Because the same people who you see now pretending like they want to bury their head in the proverbial sand, they know.
But
They
head boy, you remember that
these
famous
things.
ambassador who was seen with schoolboy going into pharmacy buying lubricant, and when people talk about him because he was so connected to the powers that be, you would have lost your job.
Anyway, of course I remember. But my brother and friend, as I leave you, I say to you, we will talk about this in the next 2-3 years until the list is made public. Yeah?
Yeah.
So
I agree.
all the best, brother.
All right, cool.
Man, thanks. And Luke, what we fail to understand in this country too, you know, is that we have some people of the Vumvuba and the Vumvubi who are collecting national award of old donkey, old jackass, old this and all that. And they're the one who's involved in human trafficking and sexual intercourse, or what you want to call it. YouTube, I apologize for that. Don't want to ban my channel. Involving all sorts of sexual act with underage people.
Jeffrey, people have normalized it because in Dr. Fowler's research, she found out that there was a need for a particular group of men from Europe and some place out of the United States who prefer boys between a certain age. And there was one part of that report that I looked at that says even a boy at 10 was required to carry out some gruesome sexual act. And if you would remember, just to jog your memory, there were 3 women that were taken from a particular rural parish that went to a hotel and had sex with some men, and when the videos came out, one of them ended up killing themselves. The truth of the matter is that it's not that the country don't know the truth, you know, but they are not very much truth tellers. There are no prophets that are calling to bear that you don't ask your neighbor to kill them only sheep when you have 1,000. And what has become acceptable in the society is that people will know who you are and the things that you do, and still turn a blind eye and give you a pass because you are so and so. It's a prayer that needs to go out to pray for the destruction of the strong men, because it's not the flesh and blood that we wrestle against. It's the principality and powers and the rulers of darkness in high places that we don't like to talk about. So if you notice now in Jamaica, the advertisement, if you have a married problem, if you're on visa, you call Shagarama from such and such and such, is what we have come to accept. And that is now You call no, them not call Luke, them call Shagarama
No, I'm
or
asking who is the name called?
Hindu priest Shagarama, who has had a wealth of experience in this area. The country there's a wrong wind blowing to our back when it comes to our spirituality. And although you have the prayer breakfast, very seldom you hear people talk about this to the powers that be, that too many people are getting away with too much things and that God is going to stamp them down. So seemingly those prophets of old have died out. So the Ananias and the Sapphira gets away with just about anything. The King Nebuchadnezzar spirit is at play. And I don't think we should just say in the next 3 years nothing will happen. It means that we have to speak truth. Truth might be pressed down, but it must rise up. We have to become a nation of truth tellers and name them and shame them. And I'm agreeing the list as a human right advocate, it is the right of the victim to have their perpetrators known so that this person don't. Because if you don't name them and shame them, you allow them to stay in their corner to do this again and again and again. And the only reason why evil is so pervasive, Jeffrey, it is because we, the good people, have chosen to say, boy, Jamaica, this is not Naga. No, I will never confess this over this nation. Righteousness must take back its place, and that is what the National Pledge called us to. It asks that we honor our brothers and sisters and we stand up for truth, rights, and justice so that everybody will enjoy the peace and the prosperity together under what was created to be the planet and the
Yes.
rules of the planet, the natural course of justice. Not to have just a few, but again, we have to get rid of, if I'm connected to Jeffrey Tavares, I'm immune to the same laws that governs Jamaica. And look who is now making a mockery of the law. It is our own Prime Minister who promised us fixed election date, who promised us term limits, who promised, and yet still this thing about we have to get our 3 term like them people.
Yeah.
No, but not to promise to the Jamaican people in this day and age when the murder rate is 1,114 Jamaicans that have died, and many more probably will perish during the course of this time. If that's not a failure of an administration, I don't know what is. But let's protect children. Children must be our priority, because that is how you sustain the future of a nation.
I'm going to say something here. A well-known pastor went into a young lady room, 15 years old, and speaking some tongues and said, the Lord said that you must give it to me. And he performed oral sex with her. He had sex with her, get her pregnant, and the baby was aborted. And nothing has been done. All because that so-called pastor is well connected in this country. When it was brought to my attention, and I came out loudly about it, the powers may be wanting me to come off Roots FM. But I decided, say, put me on Roots FM, that's not going to shut me up. And if you go on my YouTube channel, I don't know what I had on it, what the topic was. But that is why I refer to them as dirty man. And in the same breath, I remember one of Jamaica's lawmakers in the Senate, Senator Lambert Brown, said that anybody touch his pitney, this is my words now, jungle justice will prevail. Well, let me make something clear. I have 2 godchildren in Jamaica. And so help me Almighty God, jungle justice will be if anybody touch them. Make it known. It cannot be looked that in 2024 Jamaica, we have people parading around as lawmakers, as people of the... Hold on to me. Good night. Welcome to the Mek Wi Talk program. You're live.
Good night, Mr. Jeffrey. How are you and to your guests and to the viewers?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir. So you're talking about the church. I agree so much. I don't see the church, the umbrella of churches protesting and doing what they're supposed to do on the road. Jamaica is in a spiritual warfare, and even the blind can see that. But what are we going to do? I mean, talking is one thing, but until we unite and go on the road and do what we have to do. Because I heard someone on the platform said that, you know, that we have to, in high places, right? It is way up there. We have Andrew Holness living the one, but I can tell that man love evil. And if your head sick, everybody can tell you have a headache. It's going to affect your entire body. So we have to flush out the system. Andrew, I mean, the JLP party, it should get away with it, but should get them out of it, sorry. But we need to also understand that it's not just political. Both parties, they should take everyone that enters into politics, should declare their assets. They should have a check, even in the police force. But then again, we can't get rid of corruption, but it can be limited. We can get it down. I mean, that 12-year-old girl, what is going to happen to her? She's going to traumatize.
Well, I guess I'll tell you something. The United States has a lot of counselors who can assist her, you know. Jamaica doesn't have that amount of counselors who can assist her. They chat to her, or chat to him, or whatever. A month, and that is it. You done this one.
Counseling is one.
Because the family members don't have the money to take the child to a private psychiatrist. While those who live in the United States have the privilege of getting their child to XQYZ, or the state provide that for them for free.
That is true, but there's another thing that a lot of people don't understand. You see, when it get rape, or maybe, you know, what happens is that it open up portals, sex portals. And that is why you have these people turning lesbians, and then you have gays, because they were affected and then they turn. We are in a spiritual realm, you know, and until we understand that it's not just physical, you know. You know, many people here in Jamaica are changing their churches because they can get, they say, okay, I went here and my pastor can give me $100,000. I go over there so my pastor can, but what is it teaching about? We lose contact of our culture, you know, and we lose contact of God.
Well, listen to me. A lot of Jamaicans, well, the Bible speaks about people going for fish, you know, and bread. They're not going for the word of God, you know. They're going for the fish and bread that they can get. I have some so-called pastors. Don't get me wrong, you know. You have some very good pastors in Jamaica, you know. Very good pastors who are doing great work in our country, you know. But you have some of them there. It's a money-making thing for them.
But the one that are doing the good, you're hardly hearing of them. The one that doing the bad, those are the one on the forefront.
Look,
you can pay $50,000, you can get a visa. Give me a buckle of olive oil or a case. Give me some goat and some rice, and you will get a visa.
Before I have Luke come on in, let me make something clear here. No one in Jamaica, no pastor, no what do you call it again? Book ticket, no travel agency. No one cannot give you a visa. It leads to the discretion. It leads to the discretion of the American embassy.
Exactly. But how many people know that?
So no stop.
Because the Guardian that is
visa. No, go ahead.
But how many people know that? Well, thank you so much. We'll talk again. But people now listen and please, you know, open our eyes and for God's sake, man, reading the Bible, repeat the national anthem. It's a prayer. Blessings and love to you, Mr. Jeffrey, and your guest.
Thank you very much for calling, my dear. the number to call is 954-529-8030. Look, go ahead.
Look, there are bad players in every part of the game, and a part of the problem I'm seeing at Jamaica now, Jeffrey, is that there is a leadership deficit. So I don't. There, if you look at the bad players, it's the good players are way out them. But I realize that we have to take a stand on wherever we see injustice and call it what it is. And part of that, it has to be sensitization. I was just trying to see if I could reach out to the general secretary for the Jamaica Council Church to see if this was brought to his attention or he read the story. But if you even look at Kevin Smith and how that was handled and how many church leaders were bought into that, it tells me that there's a high level of apathy in the church for what is materialistic. And I've always said the destruction of the church became the prosperity gospel, that the more you give is the greater God give to you. So those virtuous thing of the spirit, like long suffering and going through that period of wait, people have thrown that through the door. We want it now. So it gives rise to the fact that our country has not said why it is that they're advertising on prime time television that a man that comes from India. If it was so great for India, why is India so poor? And why have we seen this poverty that is so alarming in India? So what is it that the government or the people in authority looks at when they're allowing these people to come in? Almost every corner you look, there is now a church that is out doing. There's a big war now between Prophet Mark Stewart and some guy in Mandeville who is saying that, oh, Mark Stewart is an old dinosaur. He has been here. He has been a thief of members of churches and so forth. And it boils down to, I'm talking to a lady and I'm telling her about a pain that I'm having in my foot. And she's now relating to me, oh, you have to get one of the Mark Stewart sea salt and a bottle of olive oil. And you have to go wash off your foot in at that. And right away, somebody's doing you something, Luke. And if you know Luke is gonna take the mickey out of you when you come to Luke with that. Not that I don't have a belief that everything that happens to one, it's not always is not all natural means. There are people who practice witchcraft, and I've seen my fair share of those people from child days to know. But and then you're saying this to me with such a conviction, and then afterwards, no, you're going to offer to pray for me, and I said to you, no, I don't really want no prayer, and I can't pray for myself, because if you honestly believe that the sea salt that is sold by Mark Stewart and the olive oil can remove the very essence of evil, then you have not really read the word, and you're not astute in the word that says that we don't wrestle with flesh and blood, but principality. And principality manifests itself in so many ways, because you just think about outside of this pastor, how many people help children with a desire to satisfy themselves and take advantage of the vulnerability of our children. And this is where I'm saying, I don't know how much the CDA is doing in terms of just public awareness. I think we are a knee-jerk society. When something like this happens, we come out, but where's the vigilant 24 days to remind people? And how many of us in this country have witnessed a child being molested? How many cases we hear of step parents saying, member say, you're not my one, and me not fat no chicken for mongoose damn it, and then turn around and call and take full advantage of that child. So Jeffrey, it's not just the reaction of the state. The society must now determine how the village is going to grow that child. And are we going?
Hold on for me, Lou. Sorry to be cutting you. Hold on for me. The reverend individual there, who is a well-known pastor in this country, the person who has been charged in the United States and convicted and is a registered sex offender in the state of New York. He's your good friend, I was told. You need to do something about this. You call yourself Jamaica's pastor. But I know who me talk. I never call no name. You call yourself Jamaica's pastor. Do something for Jamaica. Tell this man to go and look a job somewhere else. Don't be a pastor. Because he's tempted to do a lot of things. Temptation is a hell of a thing.
But if you're a child predator, no matter whether or not you're there in the pulpit or you're in the community, if you know that this is this man's behavior and it has become a pattern, because behavior then becomes a pattern and that pattern is replicated. Anytime now, him I got touch the wrong somebody pitney, and murder me, somebody I got dead. So it is our role and responsibility as part of the village to protect our children, and it's not just from him. Do you know how many lives have been totally destroyed? I remember getting a call from my mother in St. Mary of a great one man where raped her pitney. Then the court tells she said she had the pitney have to move out of the community. The poor woman can't even find money half of the time for mine her pitney. Where she gonna find? So again, it's a culture that we need to go against. Do we allow people to continue to feel a sense of freedom if we don't hold them to accountability? And we can't infringe on people's right, because an accusation can be made against Luke, it can be made against Jeffrey. Once the investigation proves that this child is telling the truth, then we need to not protect you from public scrutiny, because when you're going to take my child, how many children we hear of within the last couple of years, Jeffrey, who them throat slit? I mean, you had a group of young men who usually go around and pray upon primary school children and had video of primary school, or you heard of the policeman who was having sex with a minor who went missing from Harborview and should not. How as a society have we come up with measures to ensure the safety and the security of our children? And we must make this priority number one. We must protect the children from the people there who have these behaviors, because whether you take him out of the pulpit and put him in the community, you might be giving him a bigger chicken coop for go play now.
You know something, Luke? May God rest her soul. You know who I miss right now? Betty and Blaine.
Miss her every day, Jeffrey. Miss her every day, and the truth of the matter that she can tell you stories. When Betty and I started Hear the Children Cry, it was right around the time that Ananda had gone missing, and the man search for Ananda, that I know that she went to her grave finding peace, especially because in those last years of her life, she developed one of the greatest relationship with our Savior. But just imagine the pushback that Betty Ann got, and many of us got, when that whole Hear the Children thing. People thought she was just preying on the poverty of children, but it was just the horrific stories that we were hearing and we had to process. And so, I mean, after the killing of the children down there in one of those community, I remember she and I were driving along Waterloo Road, and she said to me, "Jimmy, we have to do something." I remember she said to me, "Jimmy, we have to do something." And I said, "What are we gonna do?" Because there is always that knee-jerk reaction that we were gonna do a one-off thing. And she said, "No." And I remember we just then that song came on the radio, and we both of us just connected. Please don't let them hurt the children. And and she came up, she coined the name Hear the Children Cry. I know Reverend Davis said that we were going to do something, but many of the times, Jeffrey, with all good intention, like a Betty and Blaine and so many of our unsung heroes in Jamaica, they start out with doing a lot of things. Betty and had to go from day to day going to people to beg them. I mean, some of the experience that I remember she would share with me about just going to certain people to tell them why we needed funding to keep the importance of putting a child agenda activity center on the plate was nowhere the humiliation and the amount I know that she heard, but it never stopped her. She kept on going and going like the energizer bunny. She believed in the cause, and that for that reason that today a large part of what I do is basically just advocate for people who don't have a voice, because I remember that part of the conviction was that, you know, you can't turn the black of your eye. You cannot do anything. It's going to make you unpopular. It's going to make people do treat you badly. You're going to be treated like the persona non grata. But we have to do it, because this is what is expected of us on a spiritual level and on a physical level, that we have to see injustice for what it is and call it out, because injustice anywhere that exists anywhere is a strong offense or a strong pushback to justice everywhere. So we shouldn't just miss her. I'm glad that you have become an advocate in your own right. You call it as it is. You are not afraid to say what it is. You are one of the few bastion of people who still are standing up for the poor and the dispossessed. Look like somebody have been shot. I hear screaming in the background.
You want to find out? Let me know what's going on.
Yeah, give me a second. I hear a loud screaming in the background.
Please find out. Let me know. I'm gonna put you on mute and find out. Okay. We're speaking to Luke George Cook, where Luke is right now. Apparently, there is somebody who was shot. We're gonna have unconfirmed report. I tell you something, they keep on saying that Jamaica's murder rate is going down. I don't believe in that. Good night. Welcome to the program tonight.
Night, Jeffrey. Good night, everybody on the panel. It's the pastor we are talking about. From anywhere out there. My daughter used to go in school, 228 on White Plains Road. Him adopt a pair of twin girls. Live with him and his wife. Get one of them pregnant.
Hold on.
Then you have
Hold on. You can get one of the twin daughter pregnant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I think I saw it though. And sure? You have this, yeah, man. They will tell you some of the daughter used to go in school, man. They have this other little girl now we got to school too. A little black girl. And she probably was the 13 or 14-year-old one. Think she find out, can them find out about the money and he want to throw over the belly and suck on everything bust out.
Oh.
Yeah, man. I know him good.
My God.
Yeah, man.
So he wanted the other one to throw away the pregnancy.
Yeah, she wants to dash the baby, yeah. And she never, once you find out about the next girl, she not do it. Everybody know about it.
Whoa.
Everybody in that vicinity they know about it.
But it's not a shame, so for the church is no longer risky for you to go and seek refuge anymore?
No time at all. Because as the brother just said about the psychologists them in Jamaica, like you can't too trust nobody, because them same one too sometime we move to the youth them, because the place just get done one big corrupted cesspool of pure craziness in a Jeffrey. Yeah, man. The safety, the home of safety, them Maxfield Park and all them place there. I fear them problem there, them place there, brother. Yeah, man. And like nobody not there to stop them.
My God. So let me ask you something now, sir. He's back in Jamaica now. You think he's doing the same thing when he's doing?
Yeah, they're not gonna stop. They're not gonna stop, you know. And the funny thing about it, you know, a lot of time the people in the church, them know them thing and them still defend them, you know.
Well, what I'm hearing now, you know, is that the mothers of the church, the old woman of the church, them know some things are going on and they're covering it up.
Yeah, and that's going on all the time, man.
My God.
Yeah, man, but I just not make a tell you, Jeffrey. Bless up.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Yeah, Jeffrey.
Yes, go ahead, Lou.
Yeah, there's an altercation between two adults, and the shots that I heard was warning shot from the police. A house is on fire though. I hear the ambulance. I hear the fire brigade, and I can't see the smoke from where I am. So possibly a couple of families tonight are going to be left homeless.
Hi. Hold on here. We want to know something. What Jamaica is doing with some Indian I think Lou head boy was telling me about it. Some Indian goddess or some Indian woman who they worship. What is Jamaica with that person in Jamaica?
I don't know if you have noticed that in the last local government election, there was a man who seemed to have had a goat head walk in the streets, and he was wrapped in some religious revival garb. More and more, you're seeing the occult coming into political.
Yes. I'm getting some more information in about the same pastor here in Spanish Town Road. He used to pay off the mothers them in New York to keep their mouth quiet, their mouth shut about him sexually assaulting their daughters. And it's the same thing he's doing in Jamaica.
Yeah. Remember,
Pastor Dr. Michael Clare of the New Evangelist or whatever church you name, past Spanish Town Road. Don't pay off anybody more. Stop doing what you're doing.
No, but look, you remember when I tell you, say, him is not the only criminal in this. Somebody sexually assault your picnic and you willing to take money. How long can that money make up for the trauma that you see when you're not the victim, you know? You understand it from a whole different dimension. Do you realize that there are people who grow up to become sexual predators as a result? There was a situation that I remember of a well-known Jamaican woman who was in broadcasting who adopted a child from Jamaica and took the child at about 6 years old back to the United States. When that child got to the United States, him raped dog, him raped puss, he was institutionalized for 1 year. So much so to the point that when this well-educated woman with resources felt that her two stepchildren, her twin stepchildren, were now put in a position where she don't know what could have happened, what this child was capable of doing. Her husband had moved out, taking his children, their relationship went sour. And she was friend to the then Prime Minister of the day. And when she came back to Jamaica, and again, Betty and Blaine, myself, sat in a room with her, and I remember when we returned that child, I'll never forget that day when we returned that child to a foster home somewhere off Windward Road. The scream of the child has lived with me. Mommy, are you really going to leave me? Mommy, you really don't love me anymore. And at that time, the little boy was about 9, 10. And just how he was badly sexualized in the institution. the
A
place of
government
safety,
institution?
because he was a child, a government institution. Just how badly, and I can look in my office and find excerpts of the finding, because we had gone through the finding. We begged her to keep the child. We begged her. We even suggested that if she had moved back to Jamaica, we would have have provided her with the support services. But how she had an opportunity to bring life to the atrocity of the Jamaican children in institutions of safety, and that because of her connection, she would have been deemed the untouchable. I'm talking about this woman knew the landscape, the plethora of the Jamaican Vumvava and Vumvavi. When she called upon this year 1 year, him would have come. And to my dismay, I can never like that woman. I can never like her, because she left that child. I don't know what he probably would have, what he has become, because Jeffrey, it stayed with me. Just the scream, "Mommy, don't leave me!" And just to hear the story that she sat and she told myself, Betty and Blaine, Claudette, Pius, we all heard the story of how the child, and I can go back to finding some of the documentation of how in the United States, when he went to one of these treatment center for children who has experienced the projection that this trauma will affect him for the rest of his life. So to have a sexual predator, whether in the pulpit or whether in a school community, it means that all of us, it falls to the responsibility of all of us. And the women in the church and the people in the church are no different from the rest of Jamaica, who, when the child go tell the mother, said the stepfather, I feel him up or I feel her up, them are talk about, I'm a breadwinner, you want me to get rid of out of the house, and you're wicked, dirty papa never had a look after you, and the only man where you ever know. And it, to some extent, they have gone to say that I better him F you than somebody else do it, because
I want to say something here, Luke. The Jamaica Public Service companies going around cutting off other poor people life. And this pastor here in Spanish Town Road, New Evolution Church, is stealing light. When JPS come down there and they disconnect it from him and him pay money or whatever, by the time JPS gone, he put it back on and he pay somebody in the JPS to keep them mouth shut. This church on Spanish Town Road is thieving like some other churches around Jamaica. Michael Clare, you're stealing light at your church. And the Jamaica Public Service Company need to come down to their church on Spanish Town Road. Your church is a sanctuary where the head of the church is involved in certain things in the United States. It's public, it's on Google. You can go and Google it. It's all over Google. And the Jamaican Authority allowed this man around young people.
Look here. Jeffrey it has become an embedded culture that we have come to accept. And it's not that way. Jamaica Public Service, I mean, the majority of people are thief light below a certain community. Him thieving light now go stop, because as you rightfully said, them him either have a light man down there will work for the company, or somebody who is a trained electrician who is going to go back up there and go put up the light. The fact of the matter is that we need to find out if the authority has no on out to try to make sure that they are watching this person. And is it that again, Jeffrey, it has to be placed squarely at the feet of the church folks and people in community. And one has to be careful because the very laws of Jamaica will tell you that you might be infringing on his rights as a citizen to go about his free business as long as he doesn't commit himself to there. I was reminded again that as long as you don't commit yourself, you are given that right under the law that you don't have to incriminate yourself, you don't have to cooperate, you don't have to, but the village, Jeffrey, we must encourage the village. The people of Jamaica must see ourselves as a village and a shield around the vulnerable. And that it is somebody inside of our immediate home, within our immediate circle, or in the wider community. We must determine as a nation, this is something that we can all play our part in as a nation to say, how is it that we want to look at the care and the protection of children? For instance, while we're on the topic of caring for the nation's children, why we're not encouraging more people in Jamaica to take on foster care or adopt children if they have the love and the compassion to raise these children? Because the other part of the problem that I see often is that the children has to return to these places of unsafety where they're living, because look how much children home are overrun with children. Look at what happened to the kids at Annandale. Those girls that were burned to death because somebody locked them in there and the fire come and it burned them up. And the lady who was there went on to become the commissioner of the correctional services. The lives of the children were lost, but you were promoted.
Yes.
Right.
No.
So it's a national problem that
Right.
when we talk about safety of our children, we need to broaden this discussion.
Yes.
Where do they go? Since this places of safety is no longer a place of safety, where do they go? Who is there to rescue them? Do we have to go now, resurrect Betty and Jane from the ground, or do Jeffrey Tavares and the listeners of the Jeffrey Tavares show now looking at setting up or establishing group homes for children that have been victim of the society and victim of the institutions of government that have failed
You
them.
know,
That's
go ahead, Luke.
That's where we have to go, Jeffrey.
Yes.
When we identify the problem, we have to identify the solution. And if I'm not being a part of the solution, then I'm being a part of the problem. I'm definitely going to find out if this man is known to the local authorities. That once he came into the country, I'm going to also raise it with the Jamaica Council of Churches. I'm going to raise it with the children advocate office to say what happens. Do we have to wait until another child becomes victim of the circumstances, or do we have methods?
I am getting some stuff here. And one may wonder, why am I having this conversation? What am I really talking about? Members of his church, 4 members of his church get in contact with me about his behavior, 4 members of his church get in contact with me of the way how it's going on.
Here in Jamaica?
Yes.
So why haven't they gone to the authorities?
I don't know.
Okay, well, see, part of the problem, not the solution.
He's no longer, listen to me, look, he's no longer in the United States. And he has, United States. He's deported back to Jamaica for how many years now?
Hold on, Jeffrey, the people who are in your contact feeding you with that information, are they in the United States or in Jamaica?
They're right here in Jamaica.
So, have they reported it to the authorities?
Apparently, they're afraid to do so.
Okay, well, if you're afraid, you as a mandatory reporter, you can call the children advocate office. You can also go into any of your to one of the Jamaica Council of churches and let them as a group tackle the issue, because I understand one has to have real fear in Jamaica because of the high level of reprisal killing.
Yeah.
And pastor do it too. Pastor get man for go kill people if you disrupt them with them thing. But don't tell you, Jeffrey, solely for you to tell the public without acting. They have now told you, will they be willing to go in and give statement? And they are going to do so under the protection that they are given it anonymously, that they don't want their name. But if they have to go through a trial, can they get a closed trial where they are put behind a screen to give their testimony? We have to look at how we can facilitate it. But it's one thing to say, yes, may I tell you, but it's another thing for somebody to say, the Bible, the very Bible where them read said God has not given us a spirit of fear, but one of a sound mind, and that we must stand on the promises of God and be courageous. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. We need people who are going to have the fortitude of testicular and stand up to people like this man. If you really love the kids, and I'm not saying you don't, I commend them for taking the first step, but they have to also learn to get over that fear.
But Luke, the fact of the matter is, as I said before, those children in the United States get help. How many kids in Jamaica, in his church, have he troubled? And are they getting help? Or is he paying off people in the church?
If he has started to molest,
if he has started, yes.
If he has started to molest the people in his church, there is what is called the victim wheel. Him probably have those people in isolation, him probably pay them off, him probably treat them with a little bit more of a favor, him probably prophesy and tell them, say, God, I go bless them extra. And this is why they have to just live within the wheel of being a victim, and the wheel of how a victim is treated. Now, are those people in his church saying that they have seen actions or activity that has caused them to be alarmed? And if so, have they identified any children that might likely be the victim of such sexual assault? So we can't just go in there with blazing guns if we don't have something to go in on. But here's one ground that them can start with: the grounds under which they know that this was what he was convicted for, and still an ongoing concern. And therefore, this is why I'm saying that between now to tomorrow morning, we can just call the CDA, and I will document for you who we call. We call the Jamaica Council of Church. Don't talk about the commissioner of police. Nobody can talk to him, because there's a lady now who I have been reaching out to the commissioner to speak to the lady, and all that we see is how in office, in public relation officer, Miss Edwards have just been blocking the lady from speaking to the commissioner, telling the woman about the commissioner, and the diary is full to the brim, when the woman obviously have had a problem that she wants to ask the commissioner, because she's so fearful of going to just anybody in the police force. So she wants to speak to the commissioner. But let's check the agency from the people when they are returned. We want to find out from them what happened when you have people who might be sex offenders now holding prominent position in the country. How do you treat with them from the time of arrival? Will they tell you that the jurisdiction falls outside of Jamaica, it never happened, and therefore it's not a transnational crime, them can't do it? But do they watch these people? Do they have ways of observing? Have they gone into the church? Have anybody gone in there undercover to find out if I'm in fact in there molest Pitney? And do your not, I don't want to call anybody informant, do your concerned citizens, are they that concerned that we can identify maybe victims of violence that is taking place against a child inside of the church, and be willing to get some help? Yeah.
As a matter of fact, one of the women who is his armor bearer, he used to be with the daughter of the armor bearer. And then he left her. Right here in Jamaica. He's with a little girl. So obviously his armor bearer is being paid from him. Look, we have to do some work. Tomorrow we have to do some work.
Yeah.
Final words on the program.
Look, I'm not going to say I'm not accepting defeat. I am somebody who will never accept just walking away and saying nothing can be done. I'm going to throw up my hand and yeah, I'm going to tell me all of the reason why it can't be done. I believe that we must make good trouble, Jeffrey, and this is a time for us to make some good trouble.
Yes, I come with a good friend, John Lewis.
Me not care about him armor bearer. Him armor bearer is probably one of them where I solicit like a picnic or give them so she can get a couple more dollars. We have become a very apathetic society. We sell all with pitney and sell with mama for the almighty dollar. Nothing is beyond the dollars anymore. We know when the big dirty man them are come and what them are come about, or when the big old woman them go a football match and see your 16-year-old son on the field and I say, him I wanted, and you go talk to the coach or you talk to one of the member in the team and say, deliver him to me in a silver wrapping and make me get for the way more and for the with him. A lot of our sons are being taken to Potiphar's house and Potiphar's wife are demanding a pound of flesh. So is what we know, but it's not just to know, it's how we will act, and we will have to act decisively in this situation. Since there is a concern, let us treat it not as a concern, but let us treat it with a fair sense of urgency that we have to protect the children from this predator. And it's not just in the church. Imagine that Spanish Town Road, dense community. How if he actually still practicing his
because
his behavior.
Look, his wife in the United States has nothing to do with him, and his son is not allowed to be around him. He's a well-known sex register in the United States, in New York. His son is not allowed to be around him. Something must be done because we do not know if he's doing the same thing as his church on Spanish Town Road.
But Jeffrey, this is not a matter. It's not a matter that we don't know. It's a matter that if this is becoming, this is part of the person's profile, and this is part of his nature. He has a fetish for children. It no matter which part you put him. It no matter where you put him in now. As long as there are children, we don't know how many children he probably have brutalized in this country. So we now are aware that this is nature. It is up to us to do something. And I'm saying, let us spend the better part of the morning tomorrow finding out what are there to safeguard these children from this man. How do we now get him to be monitored? How do we now get to a stage where we can remove possibly from him the title of pastor? But we have to also be mindful that he doesn't need that title to carry out his gruesome act. We need to know what the police can do to safeguard, to ensure that people are safe within communities. And I'm not going to just say we're going to throw up our hands. We're going to have to do something, and let's do it for the children of Jamaica. And I commit for us to spend the better part of tomorrow trying to find out how the legal system can work and how we sensitize the Jamaican system.
He was a part of the Red Parsley Church, you know. Red Parsley have Harvest World Ministry International.
Red Parsley is a charlatan.
So he was a part of
me hear Paula White say she has summoned the spirit of the ancestors to get rid of Joe Biden. Look here, many are called, but few are chosen. I don't have a problem with church people. They are good and bad in all of us. Me not listen to them people here. Them is 5 minutes of money making. None was worse like Creflo dollars and Cooper. If you not get a certain amount of money, the angel them not visit you. Only demons come to you. So look here, people put on the cloak, them put on the collar. But inside them know what they're there for. They are con artists, just like how we have leaders in this country who say we're a government minister and we now have $30 million $30 billion unaccounted for in a poor country.
You know something? I was going to answer anybody on this platform, but I've answered this idiot. Are we talking about your demigod? Your God that you love so much? Your JLP leader who is your God? This idiot who is 99 at Gmail. Are we talking about your demigod? Or are we talking about something different? Why are you putting politics inside of it? We're talking about something serious in this country. We're not talking about your demigod.
So we're giving 999 some time, no?
Anyway, we gotta go now.
Jeffrey, don't pay. Yeah, man, don't pay. Jeffrey, let us not be deterred from the cause. We're here to talk about the protection of our children. These people are paid slave to come and talk about the people who they don't even get crumbs from their tables. Look, you notice that the people who defend these positions are oftentimes those that fall within the poor and the dispossessed. This is what they get paid for. They get 5 minutes of fame. My hunger, the boy Jeffrey and Luke Facey, and I saw them get one thing a dirty girl. So not take what the people them feeding tree from them. No broke up.
As we come off here now, the question must be asked: Who did license this pastor to practice into to do ministry in Jamaica? Who gave him his pastoral license in Jamaica? Is it done by a well-known pastor in Jamaica, or did it done by somebody from United States who went to Jamaica and give him his pastoral?
And many of these churches are going to the smaller islands. A lot of them are getting minister license. But the thing is that I hear your prefix before his name, doctor. Is this a doctorate in a particular area, or is it a
doctorate of troubling little girls?
Well, let us be surgeon of removing the cancer.
Because you have some of them who are doctor, and then by then doctorate from some university in California. Jeffrey shut him out. Because if you don't for them as doctor this and doctor that, they don't answer you. So this one here on Spanish Town Road is doctor of troubling little girls.
Well, Dr. Tavares of truth telling.
No. No damn Dr. Tavares. I don't want no doctorate. And even if I do my doctorate, the way how some people get doctorate, I don't really want it. I don't study for it. You can address him as doctor this and doctor that.
Well,
one of them who buy his doctorate, if it ever was doctor this, I am this doctor that.
Dr. Jeffrey Tavares today, I said to somebody, why is it that it's so important that we have to say Dr. Andrew Holness nowadays? Where did he study?
Andrew Holness, no damn doctor.
Where did he study for it? I really have respect for people who go and put in the work, not for people who gets it not the people who gets it in terms of just get it.
Anyway, we're not getting any more calls for the night. No more calls. 954-529-8030. If not, then we're gonna call it a night. We've been on it from about 7 o'clock this evening. This morning. Whoa. This evening.
Yeah, man.
Oh, we have another call coming in. Hold on there. Good night, caller. Welcome to the Mek Wi Talk program. You're live.
Jeffrey, good night. I can't talk loud. My voice gone.
How am to you? Drinks on JB, you know?
Because I talk so much about Andrew Holness put crooked in my throat.
Yeah, might need to get some sea salt and olive oil.
The allergies bothering me and the change of climate.
Hold on there, no? Luke is saying you may have to get some sea salt and olive oil.
Really? That is a new one I'm hearing. I've done all the others I know. Ginger and that, but
No man,
Come
you might have
a
to
boy
get
is not
6
gonna
civil.
jump into it so quickly.
Oh,
What you
well,
need
you
to
might
do,
have to go get 6 civil orange and 3 cream soda.
what you need to do, are you in Jamaica?
No, you don't know it's who.
Me know who me
Don't
talking.
call me. You know it's who?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not in Jamaica. You're right.
You're right here. Okay. What you need to do then is that maybe me have to know come here one night with my head wrap up with 10 pence and 40 teen ruler.
You have got light a green candle too.
You look?
You have got light a green candle to Jeffrey.
Jeffrey don't like no green candle unless you know what the color
But
signify.
I like the orange one for me than the green one.
Look here, Jeffrey not gonna like none of them candle because each
No,
of them
I take my things make joke, yeah.
symbolize
Anyway.
something in them order.
Luke talking to you. Luke talking to you. Hold on. So speak up, Luke. Speak
up.
Jeffrey, please do not let people tell you to light the candle unless you know what it symbolizes and which spirit you're
Talk up, Luke. Me not
inviting.
hear. I can't turn down the TV here.
Now hear one thing, Luke. Say, talk up, look louder now.
Jeffrey, me say no light no candle because you don't know what it symbolizes and which spirit you're going to invite to them. Next thing me go hear, me get a call from your house and say, you're in there, say, I kill a mosquito and I want to kill one more too.
You're too bad. Look, you're too bad.
Wait, say, Luke, I kill a mosquito and the one?
I forgot kill another one too.
You go here, Mr. Luke. You too. No, I can't laugh. I can't even laugh. Anyway.
All right, then.
Wait the man, Jeffrey.
Yes, ma'am.
You notice all of them so-called pastor here. After them do all the bad deeds in this world, and because they know that they will be forgiven by God, them got on pastor. Check out most of them. Check out most of these pastors that you have right now.
You see, because you know the Jamaican people are so gullible. You have some of them go up prison and come back, you know. Wasn't a pastor before, you know. Was never a pastor before, you know. But he want to make some quick money. They go open one church, you know, man. And they have them head wrap up with that kind of, you know. And they mix up J's, Detal, Fabulous, and Lime. And Jamaican people say, yes, go down there. They can't wash me off with J's, Lime, and Detal.
You know. Me say, because people really gotta be featuring everything them get them run with, you know. And them don't think and spend some time and sort it out, you know. And enough of them, that's where their money, you know.
Jeffrey.
Draw a partner and see you.
Jeffrey.
Hold on a look.
Jeffrey and
hold on a look. A gentleman called the program the other day and said mother love to go down at Jamaica. Someone put my must in the mother go. And the mother come back up with all kind of same thing. Mother bad, pan and all kind of sitting. The last time come back up now, she said the man cut off one chicken neck and gave her the chicken for carry up. When you tell the man say she can't carry the chicken because she in the United States, he's all right. He says steal the chicken and eat it. She must call the chicken. You see? Hey, with school and gullible no hell in this country, see? You have some of them going to church. So the pastor man can't get their visa. Them can't pray to get their visa. The pastor man get their visa. Nobody in Jamaica, absolutely no one, no church, nobody cannot give you a United States visa or Canadian visa. It leave up to the discretion of the consulate in the American embassy.
Yeah, the consulate.
Okay.
To give it to you. And
what you talking about, Mr. Tavares? What you talking about?
You know, want this money, me want, and that the amount me want, and so on. And I always think about it, you know. The people carry them hard earning. Me not saying not to give something towards the church and all of that. But people open on the eye on it, that's what enough on the money want to need long time.
Look here. There is
That's right.
there
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
And some of them outright with it and barefaced because of them. Me no want this, me no want that, carry this, carry that.
Luke, where's in Luke?
Jeffrey, what you talk about? I asked the caller if she not watch the people them when them a give them miracle testimony with the Universal Church. The lady say when she
we can't hear neither. You can't hear.
Jeffrey.
I just shut you down.
No, ma'am. I do not subscribe to any powers than the one that I pray to. So nobody now.
So you get so low.
Just location. I remember said them not have good internet. We not have Mr. Elon Musk internet where only certain people in Jamaica can pay for it. But Jeffrey, I can imagine that there are people who take baths and them tell them send a bread they'll be a 3 days before them go to embassy, and if them ever go make water touch hey, them, some of them go to them froze, you see.
Baby, yourself, no be for 3 days.
Yeah, after the bath, and sometimes if you're very urine, you have to take a bath in it. It's called a urine. I forget the sophisticated name that the young lady tells you. Or Jeffrey, have you ever gone to the famous mall drugstore downtown or Marches drugstore? And you're going there, you see the black candle them where they on the back with the bat and the rat and the this and them tell you. Eh?
Where that is?
Haywood Street, man. You just go down there, you go to the back. One day I'm going down there, try to take a picture, and the man tell me, I can't do that because I might not make it out there alive. So, they believe I believe you. So I just let myself and come out there. I was so fascinated. I wanted to come and see what this was all about. But you would be surprised how many people in Jamaica believe in tea leaf reading. You have Joe the Sage who comes down here, the shaman leader who she can invoke spirits and she can call them. She can call them people. So what's one?
You know what I can't so.
And they fight against one another. They fight against one another using those type of things.
The church is in Jamaica that are doing
like the market.
The churches in Jamaica that are doing well, man, are the ones that every you can go every day. Several service keeping a one day, and them they set them up, give you all sort of signals.
That's to show you that starting is a damn lie. Because if
to collect money,
if people don't have church 7 days a week, for the whole live long day, and starting to say how unemployment gone down. So other people who work church every day, they don't work. Obviously they do not work.
No man, the closer
it's
them.
pretty quick way you can get money down at Jamaica, or in the world.
Yeah.
Become a doctor, a lawyer.
No man.
And a pastor.
Doctor and lawyer now make no money. You want the pastor them. That's what I'm telling Luke.
No, the pastor them take over now, Jeffrey, and them are the forerunner now.
That's what I'm telling Luke.
Quickest way we make money. Set up a little something, say, call it church.
No, man. Me tell Luke to go down at Pinks and Pablo's because they sell some cloth. Down there. Some cloth.
I'm banned from Pigs and Pablo.
Aye. You're banned from Pigs and Pablo?
Yeah.
Why?
Because the clerk, might go down, they go tell them say that the clerk they're not selling a Pigs and Pablo. So I'm banned from Pigs and Pablo.
Because what we can do,
Also,
all we can do, remember Oliver and Maffy? When Maffy said give generously, and Oliver the pastor, that was listen to me. And Oliver the twanging a man. And the amount of people come to the church and hear Oliver the twanging. Jamaican people love when they get an overseas pastor.
They're fallible. Really fallible.
They only want to hear the accident. And when they hear the accident, everything good.
Look.
I really accident with you, you know. I really accident, Jeffrey. You're right,
Look,
accident with you because at the end of the day, the pastor them send them picnic go university, you know, easy them a go through. Now we're about school fee because them a collect their money. The pastor have him grocery and him food well set out, things nice in bills pay. And them a struggle. They are struggling. Them can't even help themselves and their children. Eh? No man, I time for Jamaica people, man.
Look here, Jeffrey, fun and joke aside though, there has to be a day of atonement in Jamaica. Do you know how much people get messed up by the so-called church? Do you know that there are lawyers and doctors in this country that they were the victim of sexual assault on their parents by one of these known so-called leaders? And this is why you can't use one brush and paint everybody, because as I said, people going at different things for different things. And Jamaicans right now, we're so desperate. Anybody will come. And it's true. I remember they brought this guy from the States, this big African guy who came from the States and come here and tell woman about she barren and that she was going to have twin, but she had to make she had to sacrifice. She had to make a love offering of 250,000. And when they go back to when the man go back to New York, he was famous to go have masturbate and coming out one pan of water and give people for drink and tell them that they were drinking Holy Spirit. Or I've seen people now on people and said this is a holy. No, I don't get into them. Me and Jeffrey will have these sessions where we do these unknown talks, but people are so now focused on the manifestation of the spirit being you being able to talk in tongues, but very few people have the gift of discerning what is being said. As far as I'm concerned, your experience with God is your experience with God, and I don't play when it comes to God, because I believe one of the reasons why I'm still in this country is because of God's grace. So, but the fact of the matter is that our people are so desperate for some level of self-actualization that they are just being robbed when you're gonna tell mother about carry the picnic
pressure.
Carry the picnic
Pressure, man, and it burst the pipe. Pressure, they under pressure.
Go doctor. I mean, the fact of the matter that we in this country would even consider to have the Church of Satan being established in here, it tells you that the country has lost its leadership. We don't have enough problem where we want.
Lou.
Yeah.
Look here, Andrew. You and I know this pastor and dead now. He used to sell prayer water. On a well-known radio station. And pray for the water.
Bello.
And I call, what did the country wrong with this man? I never call no name. Hold on, no? The man in dead now, Bello, yes, Bello. Love pray, no man. When he chops on tongues, in a man. One woman, she have high blood pressure, you know.
Bello tell me, say, from me at 13, them I put my socks on me pen, you know. And me first go a grave 22, grave 22. I'm gonna lie. I'm gonna lie, can't go tell Bello say what I do. Me no bad in a me pen, me no need food.
No. Nobody in the band prepare the radio, you know. And before the woman go take her blood pressure medication, the woman tap the blood pressure medication and say, me don't drink the water. And the best water known to God and no feel no way, you know. When the woman collapsed in her house and her daughter carry her to hospital, the woman's blood pressure over 100 and something.
Wow.
So the doctor said to her, I said, you don't take any medication? No. The pastor bell prayer water, doing my thing. Mama, and then chatting us on tongues. I laughed until I weak.
But the Bible tells us, you know, Jeffrey, that we must try the spirit whether they be of God. And then all of this now, what comes to my mind? Who comes to my mind rather? David Smith. If things has become so civilized now, and the more things become civilized for us to know, to see, to prove with our eyes, and to evaluate, people
Luke,
are
continue
still
talking. Give me a
going
minute.
backward and backward.
No, but again, I'm
Because
saying
you can make somebody like David Smith
no,
tell
ma'am.
you to sell out your things
No, ma'am.
and carry money come give him. And him rich. And him a book a tick off. Who bring how much amount of money and how much amount of money and who not bring in money and who owe him. Then we are a sick people. Sick.
Well, you have to remember. No. Again, ma'am, as I said to you, we have given our people so little to look forward to. We have our people have not seen a full manifestation of what the Spirit of God can do. And so there is a need for that sort of feeling. And I tell you about the prosperity gospel. Remember before, and you have to be careful how, we educate our people. We can't just say, boy, with all of what happened. People are struggling. And anything that offers them a little bit of a reprieve, they will gravitate.
They are going there. They are going that direction.
They're going to gravitate towards it, and this is why they need to see. They need to see that God is not about your instant gratification. So part of it is that if you suffer, you must do so knowing that it's not what you're looking to get, but it's the promise that you will have that assurance that I will never leave you or forsake you. And people might say, oh, that is so
They truly don't believe. They truly don't believe, because if you believe that, the things they do, they will not do it. They don't believe it. They only read it.
Some of us only experience generational faith. My mother was a Christian, my father was a Christian. I cannot say I'm a Christian.
You're right.
So
Mm.
the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And it's like a man who comes to you and says, boy, you must be my answer to prayer. And you will say, why? And then he will basically says that because you everything in me becomes alive when I see you. Imagine if somebody treat you as the ugly.
Hold on, Elu. We're entertaining everybody on the platform here. Wanna hit the super chat now, man? Give something to the platform now. Hit the super chat. Come on. Or give something to the program, because we're entertaining everybody here, because when they're ready for go to church, man. Oh Lord, Jeffrey, behave yourself. Luke, go ahead.
No, look, Jeffrey, we have to commit to 2025 being the year where we help people to rechannel their mindset from just thinking at this level and come a little bit higher. And we're not going to do it by bashing people. Even intelligent people get tricked. You think so when you invite the likes of Miss the richest black Jamaican woman now, where nobody never knew her come up there, because that's a part of a con, because if she never have money, maybe she would have never get invited. Do we invite all Jamaicans to come to UTEC and invest in UTEC? Why don't you make UTEC in an investment country? Why were you selling false degree to the students of UTEC? You could have turned that institution into a private-public partnership where the investors are Jamaicans who buy, because education by and large is becoming very expensive in Jamaica. One textbook can run you up to $12,000. I've seen a science book now that runs you $15,000. Education is becoming, so we have not given the Jamaican people a lot to aspire to. We talk about their unwillingness to do things, but the truth of the matter, that apathy that we feel, unless you look, lady, that can cripple you, and the one sweet nothing can just totally wipe you off of your feet, because it's like feel in Jamaica, feel valuable.
Sorry, excuse me.
You feel valuable. So imagine once somebody come now, and the Lord says that you shall prosper by 10 months' time. The poverty you feel, just give me $10,000.
I think of your light bill money you're gonna give.
Hold
on, look. You think of your
All
light
the
bill money.
medical bill too. All the medical bill. When they have to go pay, they take it, go give. Yeah.
Hold on, man. You know, say there was a pastor man who tell a woman to give her all in a man. The woman take her one light bill money go give her. When she go home in a man, she tell her husband, say the pastor say the Lord will provide. They tell her like no cut off, you know. The husband say, look here, go back down at the church, you go tell that man to give up my money. Because I work hard for my money. But the husband said, go back down there, go get back my money. When the lady go back down to the church, you know, man, one bang around down there, the man begs like a bull, no one get back their money. When she do get back her money, you know, man, the woman chops on tongues and say, Pastor, I'm a husband, I know you're a good man, and I believe in you, and whatever. The husband behind her say, yes, you believe him. I want to scam him.
Jeffrey, you never
Jeffrey, most of these pastors, they know they are scammers. It's the want of the people they are taking advantage of. And prosperity sermon that they're preaching. Huh?
Caller, many are calling, few are chosen. Jeffrey, you never hear your friend, the Governor General, is to undergo spinal surgery.
What happened to him?
Spinal surgery, Jeffrey, is to go undergo spinal surgery. I'm wondering if he's in Jamaica or they're gonna fly him to one of those places outside of Jamaica. But caller, let us commit to be an inspiration in the lives of the people that we meet, and let us not
repeat that, please. Repeat that, Luke.
Let us inspire to be an inspiration. Let us inspire in this new dispensation to be an inspiration to the people that we meet. A lot of our people, invariably from every walk of life, are being taken disadvantage of.
Yeah, but they have to develop their own inspiration to believe, kill, and believe, cure, Luke.
Yeah, but
that's where it's going to stay. They have to change their mindset.
Caller, like babies, we sometimes have to just take those who come into our care and allow them to blossom and grow. We don't know what they have been through. We don't know where they have been. There are people here who are walking around. They have been raped multiple times. They have been violent. They have been part of violence. As I said, when you look at inner city children who every night them hear somebody dead, they have normalized that kind of behavior in this new dispensation when the government was going to make Jamaica the super country of the world. We have to meet people at their disposal. And we can't take it.
Listen now.
I have to go now.
I am not here to bring down anyone, because everybody have had a past in life. You must you must recognize where you are, and the opportunity will come, and look for it. Pray for it and hope for it, because faith without works is dead. And so you put your faith there, and you must recognize and know when your opportunity comes. Reach for it, grab it, and make that change. A lot of people opportunity have come, but they have blinded their eyes, turned their mind around, and go to some of these same past summit, they tell them foolishness. Right? And lock their doors. Right? So,
I gotta go now. Getting the wrap-up signal from the producers.
Okay, so we ourselves have to make the first change in our life and recognize when our change come, accept it, move forward into it. Trust me. Yeah, we have to start with ourselves.
All right, Colin. Thanks for calling in.
Well, I pray that you will continue on this powerful platform of self-actualization, and that you will see yourself as part of the voice.
Look here. Wait a look. If you should hear, wait, Jeffrey, give me a chance now, man. If you should hear my past, I know who I am. Some persons might have known that is me talking, and it was just me myself and God that has made that change with the people who come around. And I realized that this is my time and make that change. And here I am now that I can speak like this. Trust me, I've been there. I've been
Hallelujah,
there.
what a savior.
And God has done it for me. But with this intrinsic motivation inside of you, you have to have that. You have to have that will and that power and that drive that you want something and you're going to go for it and get it.
Woman, mighty woman of God, may you be blessed in the valley, may you be blessed in the field, and as your light shine, may others come to see it and glorify your Father in heaven. This is a powerful.
And I wish for you the same to Luke.
I tell you, they gave me the name Luke with the hope that I would have been a pastor, but no church now.
All right.
Luke, watch that tongue now. Watch that tongue now, Luke. Watch it.
Kada. No. Jeffrey, I love this. All right, Carla.
Look, let me say something here. You may know of Mr. Stewart being that. I don't know. John, if you're aware of that, I'm not aware of that. So don't bring it on my platform, please.
Are you aware of some pastor in Jamaica who was charged with sexual assault in the United States and is now practicing the pulpit?
Luke, cut your mic. You're live on air. Cut your mic, Luke. Yes, we want to say thank you all very much for coming on. As we go off air tonight, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you wish to give a contribution to the program, you can do it by Zelle or by Cash App, or just hit the super chat. That's all you have to do. Just hit the super chat. I want to say thank you very much. Thanks everyone. Thank to everyone that coming on the program for being a part of this program. Thank you all very much. Thanks to the callers, subscribers, those who continue to subscribe to this channel. Yes?
Yeah, Jeff, I just spoke to the General Secretary of the Jamaica Council of Churches. He says he would be interested to get the background to the story. He is not aware of that story.
Okay. Well, we can talk off air about that. Don't move, Luke, don't move. Let me just wrap up here. I want to say thank you all very much for coming on the program. Thank you all for being a part of the program. Until you hear my voice again, may God bless you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Mek Wi Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. May God bless you, and may God bless our island home, Jamaica land we love. Have a great night, everyone.
Unity, strength. Make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth, make we reason, make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va, no upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk. Unity, strength, make we reason. Make we talk. If we see corruption in any shape or form, we're going to highlight it. Make we talk. Jeffrey Tavares represents yard and broad and the entire diaspora. As long as it affects the life of our nation, uncover the truth. Make we reason. Make we talk. And we don't care about no vumva viva va. No upper echelon, nobody is not above the law. As long as it not help Jamaica, make we talk. Make we talk.
When the game gets rough and this life just seems so tough, make we talk, my people. Mek Wi Talk. When this town becomes an ugly place, don't let it erase the smile from your face. Mek Wi Talk, people. Mek Wi Talk. Conversation is the key, a guiding light for you and me. Spark a talk and you will see. Conflict solver A to Z. World leaders master the art of self-defense just by talk. So people, make we talk. Hey, we're living in a world that on ourselves we must depend. Make we talk.